Welcome to Gaming News Live, a talk show where we're going to be talking about the latest in gaming news as well as just reacting to anything that might be going on. In case you missed it, we had an upload hit the channel last night, essentially the format that I usually open this show with, and it was faster. You got the news quicker from me about the Ghost of Yōtei DLC, about the Crimson Desert DLC, and the Ark Raiders update. And if you watch that, you kind of know what we're going to be discussing the next day. Also, it gives me the opportunity, like right now, if you guys see anything in the feeds, if you see something hit YouTube or Twitter, we can take a look at it. It looks like the Dusk Fade reviews are hitting. We will check and see how that one's landing. We will not be checking that one out today with this new format that we're trying. We kind of have to use Green Room in the afternoon to make the videos about what's going on, making sure you guys are in the know about the latest gaming news instead of having to wait an entire day for me to sort of open the show about it. So if you're accustomed to sort of watching the show open and you're like, hey, you know, where's all the news? It's been on the channel since about 5 p.m. Eastern last night. So we hope you guys enjoy that new format. I'll give you the opportunity to get the news sort of as it's happening, which will hopefully then enable us to give you a better experience here on the channel, as well as just keeping you up to date with what's going on. So if you haven't watched that video yet, we will pin that below in a comment on the VOD. And also, you can go watch it right now if you're in the live stream. You can go check it out. It's not very long. It sort of walks through all the various things going on. The Crimson Desert DLC getting confirmed. The Ark Raiders doing their biggest update ever. And then the Ghost of Yōtei Complete Edition. Those will also be getting shorts today. So if you watch shorts and you scroll through shorts, you might see me in there as well. Just trying to check all boxes and all bases. So as you guys kind of pile in the show today, no big long show open, hit the like button. Let me know what you guys thought of the latest news. Also, just anything else going on. I kind of see you guys already talking in the chat and already starting things off. DK Bager, the single gifted king. Han shot first, and so did you. Starts the day at 1:38. Dad, with no time to game, says, hi, Lono and chat. Happy Thursday. Hope as well with everybody. Take care of yourselves. Family, mental health. God bless. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good to see you, gangs. Good to see you, Wired Rope. Snake Eyes, good morning. Malice One. Thank you again, DK Bager, for the first gifted. Make sure you guys are going through the ritual of hitting the like button. There's also a Twitch thing with GTA Online. If you link your accounts. Yeah. I was like, Monk. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't know what that is. Is that a new thing that Twitch is doing? They're getting in a little bit of some hot water, you know, training AI and just opting everybody in and being like, the guy literally said it. He was like, well, if we did opt in, nobody would have opted in, which is probably true. So appreciate you guys being here, and the conversation in the show is yours, basically. It's yours to do with it what you will, now that we're going with a little bit more of a free-form show, and then that upload is there. Hey, Lona, isn't the Wolverine reviews today? I don't think so, Lady Games. That would be very unprecedented. I think the earliest we've gotten a review embargo on a PlayStation game might have been 9 or 10 days, not an entire month. There we go. I had to unmute in Discord. Thank you for the reminder. So I don't think they're going to be doing that early. That'd be a little unprecedented. That would be an entire month ahead of time. I mean, obviously we want to pay attention when those reviews hit for Wolverine. There's a lot of games coming. We've gotten, just this week, we got previews of Star Wars Zero Company, and then we'll see, we'll continue to see that. Gears is number 437 on Steam. 437 for what? For players? Because it's just a beta. I mean, if you're looking at the player count, or are you looking at the sales? What are you looking at to get that ranking? Previews. Oh, Wolverine previews are today. Give us Dusk Fade, sir. We can go and look. With this new idea that we have of like deciding to say, hey, why don't we take the news, throw it in an upload, and do that in the evening afternoon time so that you guys can get the news as soon as it breaks. It doesn't leave room to play games that are not as strong on my radar. Like Dusk Fade wasn't strong on my radar. Stronger games on my radar like Phantom Blade Zero, Blood of Dawnwalker, Wolverine, Control. These are games that are definitely going to get played on the channel. When is the Wolverine preview? I don't know. I didn't hear anything. This is the first time hearing about this. You guys are kind of bringing something to my attention that I had not seen yet. Dusk Fade currently has a 76 on PC and not enough reviews on PlayStation, Xbox, or the Switch to get a score. So it sounds like it's doing fine. And Risic starts the day with a big one, a 20 bomb, to get us to 158. Risic, one of the king gifters around here, is starting the day off strong. And chat is not members only today. We're going to do that every now and again for the members, but I don't want to do that every day because I do like hearing from you guys. I know some people were a little bummed yesterday they couldn't chat. Well, you can chat today. So thank you, Risic, for doing that. There's the member that I owe for the 150. Let's keep it going. We're going to need a bit of a member train today and tomorrow if you guys are going to hit that weekly 500 to get the Madam stream on Saturday. I'm surprised. I feel like this format is better for more gameplay since it's less organized. Oh, you mean like just playing the game in the live stream? I mean, maybe, and then Risic bumps the line again with a single thank you. I get what you're saying, D-Tom. Let us experiment with that. I've never liked doing that, being like, yeah, let's just tack on gameplay to the end of an existing live stream, because then I guess you could timestamp it, and timestamps, can help. And another one comes in from Risic, and he gets us to 160. He's putting it in your hands, guys. He's putting it in your hands. He says, hey, we're 15 away from 175. Let's see some 5 bombs to get there. And a 10 bomb from Too Thirsty gets us to 170. And Risic just does another single. This is Risic's world. We're just living in it. Too Thirsty, thank you for that generous gifted bomb as well. 10. Listen, if you guys get a gifted member, you better say thank you to the people that are doing that, man. They're getting you access to the Discord. The Discord has the green room. You can join the crew for GTA Online. I know some of you guys are still in there playing. I'm not going to be able to do content with it like we thought we could. It's very off-brand for me. I thought online wouldn't be quite as, not safe for work. It's pretty unsafe for work. So Broken Earth with the 5 bomb gets us the 176. We got a bit of a member train going. Twitch is just sitting this one out. I owe YouTube another member. Let's go ahead and just keep it going all the way there. I mean, everybody can chime in. Everybody can help. Many hands make light work. If you're like, man, I can't do gifteds, make sure you celebrate your renewal. If you've got a renewal to celebrate, it adds to the total. There's a lot of you paying for your own membership. And Gandalf does a single and a renewal. 49 months from Gandalf says, announcing my auto renewal, exactly what I intend to do. Bingo. Ward Huff with a single thank you. Destruction with a single thank you. And a 10 bomb from Wired Rope. He's like, hey, Twitch is getting involved. And we're at 189. Thank you, boys, so much. Is this the Mass Effect talk? I don't think so. I don't think we put... Is that in the... Do we put that in the title? I don't think it's in the title, Craig. Hey, we can talk about whatever you guys want. I mean, the gaming news is starting to turn the corner. We got exciting things happening. We got previews, reviews, trailers, announcements. It's the light is starting to break through, boys. We just need to stay the course. That's all we need to do. Things are going to start to turn around any day now. For us, for gaming, Silver Subaru does a nice little tee-up with the gifted. It goes to Craig. Apparently, YouTube liked your Mass Effect joke. Guys, we are 10 away from 200. The perfect time to steal, Twitch, because you have less stream delay. PlayStation Plus Extra is stacked this month. And another single comes in from Risic. Again, Risic just loves to poke the line. And Feed is in the YouTube chat. Guys, today would be a great day to lose your minds on gifteds. Let's get Feed a YouTube badge. The man's been without a badge for way too long. feed, make sure you got gifteds on so you can accept them. And Lord Horde does a single. Guys, the singles add up. Thank you so much for all the single gifteds this morning. I greatly appreciate it. And Cardoc Ren steals it for Twitch. Boom. A 10 bomb to get us a 202. Thank you, Cardoc. Everyone likes Mass Effect. I think everybody likes Mass Effect either up close or from a distance. Like, even if it's not your jam, like, I think you kind of like it from a distance. You're like, it's a good game. Like, there's a lot to do. I got into Mass Effect 3 and played it a lot. I never really played the first two. I was late on some of those franchises because I was a big Call of Duty guy. Like, listen, you guys need to admit it. I'll admit it. If you played Call of Duty a bunch back then, you basically skipped all other games. I was not a gun and ball gamer. I was just a COD head. You know, today is the Wolverine previews. Well, perfect. With our new format, we'll be able to cover that. You'll probably get a recording on the channel about that later today. So, guys, make sure you're subscribed with the bell button. We're going to be trying to keep you up to date on all of the news instead of making you wait an entire day. So, last night, I threw up an upload. It was about the Ghost of Yotei Complete Edition. It was about the DLC for Crimson Desert. It was about the Arc Raiders update. And boom, 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 you get all that info right then and there. Thank you, Game Riot. Wolverine previews today. How did I miss that? I am out of the loop. I don't know how, though. I don't know how I missed that today are the previews. Well, we will definitely take a look at that and be sure to cover that with you guys today. I did not know that. Do we have an ETA on that? Do we know time? Let's see here. Marvel's Wolverine preview embargo. It's not really an embargo, is it? I guess it is for previews. The preview embargo lifts on August the 13th. I'm not seeing a time. I feel like they usually lift around 10 in the morning. This man's getting old. I never saw it in the feeds. Where did you guys get this information? 11 a.m. Okay, thank you. You know, no freaking GTA. Apparently, you guys don't like GTA 6 already, and a 10 bomb comes in from Risick. Risick's going to carry the member goal on his back this week. Guys, help this man out. Do a single, a 5 bomb, a 10 bomb, something. Celebrate your renewals. Don't let Risick carry the entire load. Thank you again to Cardoc and Wired Rope for doing 10 bombs on Twitch. Wolverine actor Liam posted on Instagram. Well, dadgummit. 100 stream streak for Ganks. That's a lot of streams, Ganks. Thank you so much for that loyalty. That's ridiculous. Guys, feed is still in the chat on YouTube without a badge. We've got to rectify this. Keep the member train going. Let's get this man a badge. Mafia Definitive Edition rating suggests current gen ports are on the way. Yeah, I saw that this morning. There's an ESRB rating for Mafia Definitive Edition, so that's probably, you know, soon. Once it's rated, it's playable is typically what that means. I have GTA 6 fatigue already. Listen, I do as well. They did their thing, and now we've got a breather before the 27th, so that's why I think people are starting to talk and things are starting to come out. We got to get our boy Feed. That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Let's get Feed. Lono, what do you think about PlayStation Studios? What do you mean, what do I think about them? That question's very broad. I mean, I like them and like their games, if that's what you're asking. Hello, Mr. Bob. Everybody can chat today. The chat's wide open. We might do members only later, just again as a thank you to the people that support the channel directly. That's a great reason to jump in. Yeah, Wolverine previews are apparently in an hour and a half. I don't know how I missed that. I mean, we go to the green room every day and we're like, what should we cover tomorrow? And 50 or 60 people are in there, and then Creature's in there, I'm in there, and we somehow missed it. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is officially confirmed. Really? I wonder where you could have heard about that. Oh, that's right, my show yesterday. Yeah, we already covered that perfect image. It's my favorite when you guys put news in the Discord that I already covered yesterday. That's very helpful. Thank you. I cannot believe. Can you guys believe it? Hogwarts Legacy 2. Isn't that crazy? I literally covered it yesterday, and we debated whether or not it would be live service or an MMO and all the job postings on Avalanche. An entire day later. Hey, Lona, did you know that Hogwarts Legacy 2 has been confirmed? No, no way. I need to get peanuts. No way. I need that as a soundbite on my stream deck for y'all. I'm time traveling again. That's right. You guys give me the experience of time travel every day. You're always putting things in the Discord that I have already covered. It's wonderful. Remedy confirmed in earnings that they're still working on Max Payne. Oh, yes, I did see that. Yes. What's your grudge against Wolvie? I don't like somebody that's more handsome than me. Sorry, I hold grudges. That's why I'll never have Rahul Kohli back on the show. I can't be upstaged like that. It's just not fair. What do you think about Remedy Entertainment and Control? I love Control. I played Control for the second time this year and absolutely loved it. There were things that happened that I completely forgot about. It had been a while since I had played. I can't wait for Control Resonant. I think it looks very good. We're hearing very, very good things about Control Resonant every time somebody talks about it. Every time gameplay drops. Fair, you'll love me, by the way. I do love you, OA, and now you know why. Now you know why I like so many of you. I know that probably isn't good to hear, but everybody has to have their thing. All right, here, let me set the super chat goal. I will gift a member. We're gonna do it on. We're gonna do the super chat goal on 10 though. 10 super chats and I'll gift a member. I got to space that one out a teeny bit since I'm just immediately turning back around and gifting a single member. Dusk fades out now. Yes, it's getting an okay score. It's not getting a bad score on the review circuit. It's got a 78. Oh, the score's gone up. That's good. It's got a 78 on Metacritic. It's got an 80 on the Switch 2. And it's got an 80 on the PS5. This is a very, very good score for them. It's a very sort of classic platformer-inspired game, and the combat looked pretty good. We're not gonna play that one today. I was like, yeah, I looked at it and I thought, I don't know about this one. I'm still working on Black Flag. I jumped back into that last night. Since I got back from Ohio, I have not been able to do as much gaming in the evenings. So I jumped back into AC Black Flag. Make sure you guys are going through the ritual. Whenever you come into a live stream on YouTube, you gotta hit that like button. It does help me out. What's good, Jaster? How are you? Dust fades out now. Bring back bullet time. I'm imagining they would do bullet time in a Max Payne. Come on. We need Wolverine. Wolverine is shaping up to be pretty dope, and I know some people we had that debate the one day. People were saying that he didn't look visceral and angry enough, and I'm like, I think you guys are forgetting, like, the literal first trailer where he's growling and snarling and, do a backflip. That's right, and I think people are forgetting that. There's supposed to be a spectrum to the character. He's not always like, he doesn't go to a coffee shop and he's like, give me a venti. Like, it's like, they're like, settle down, Logan, settle down. He's not always like that. There's plenty of shots in the trailers of him being very animalistic, very, very beast-like. Not like Beast, the X-Men, but just like a beast. And him not always being like that, him having maybe more, gentle scenes with Jean is literally a part of the character. Like, I think that's part of what makes him interesting, is that he's not just Wolverine, he's also Logan. He's also very old. So he literally rips a man apart. Yes, he does. There's blood all over his face and he's snarling and growling, and I think people need to watch all the trailers instead of just like a couple of screenshots on Twitter. Off topic, I'm doing puzzles. A James Cameron movie from 2009, 6 letters, Avatar, Avatar, right? I had to make sure that was 6 letters. Not always Wolverine, there's also Logan, that's right. If you bought Duskfade yesterday, it was $24.99 instead of $3. Yeah, there's a big sale going on. There is a big sale going on. Sora V. Wow says Wolverine's going to be a good game, I think. Avatar, I'm stupid. Yeah, that one seemed pretty obvious to me. I mean, James Cameron is known for The Abyss, Aliens, and Avatar. Those are and then what? Titanic. Aren't those like his those four most well-known movies or whatever? Avatar couldn't get to my phone fast enough. Yeah. Like Avatar. Say Vandalay Industries. That's like asking people to actually read articles. Never going to happen. I know. My main critique is he looks like a big action figure that's stiff and robotic. Like, it didn't look fluid. I think it's okay for his movements to be a little forced or pushed. Wait, I'm not understanding something. You don't think Wolverine looks fluid? Back from the intro vid. I haven't played Ghost yet. I'm excited to get into it. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys want to know the latest in gaming news, we're going to start trying to do that as an upload. Thank you, everybody who watched, liked, and commented on that video. I greatly appreciate that. That should give us the opportunity to cover things a little bit quicker. That has been something that I've wanted to do for you guys, in the daily show, as well as just on the channel in general. Having that ability to be like, oh, hey, this thing happened, let's cover it, instead of always kicking it to the next day. So we will likely then have an upload today that covers anything major that happens. The Wolverine previews, which we'll look at here. I'm not going to keep it out of the frame, but there will be an upload about that as well. So if you ever miss the live show or you miss my reaction to something, the hope and plan would be that I can give you a nice upload in the evenings that sort of walks through what we think are kind of the three biggest stories. Maybe we need to do more if there's more. If there's we feel like there's 4 or 5 big stories, we'll just do all of them. But for now, we're going to kind of probably keep it to 3. That's generally where the news cycle kind of lands, where there's usually 2 or 3 things that are, pretty much the stronger or more, more interesting, relevant stories. Like I thought Crimson Desert DLC, Arc Raiders update, and the Ghost of Yotei Complete Edition, I thought those were all very, similar. Wolverine looks a bit cartoony, a step down from Spider-Man. I don't know what you mean by cartoony. It's the same art direction, texture detail. The character models are all within the same. It's not hyper photorealistic, but I don't see cartoony at all. I mean, his yellow outfit is always going to look a little less serious, but I mean, Spider-Man's in a Spider-Man leotard. I mean, come on. You covering Gamescom this month? Yes, I will be covering Gamescom. We always cover Gamescom as well. I guess I'm saying he looks too realistic, so it looks stiff. His movements on Marvel vs. Capcom are super exaggerated. I think we need some of that. Yeah, I don't agree, because it's meant to be grounded in the real world. It's meant to look like, what would this look like if Wolverine was really doing this stuff? Jumping around, slicing people up. I don't know, if you watch Spider-Man, I think one of the reasons that Insomniac Spider-Man looks so good swinging through the city is because it literally looks like what it would look like. The buildings, the sense of size and scope, the wind rushing past you, there's an element to that. Yeah, that's right. James Cameron also did T1 and T2. I forgot about that. There's an element to that has a realism to it. It's not hyper photorealism. They're not going that far, but it looks real. And I think that's one of the reasons why the sort of acrobatic moves of Spider-Man in the games was so captivating and so satisfying, because there was a weight to it. It felt real. It didn't feel cartoonish or exaggerated or he's moving super, super fast. You know what I'm saying? It was no, that's literally what it would look like if Spider-Man had the ability to do this, swinging through the city and what have you. So I don't necessarily agree that they should have gone the route of a Marvel versus Capcom, which looks like a cartoon and is a fighting game, so everything's fast and exaggerated. I don't think I would have wanted the Wolverine game to be like that. One of the reasons the Batman Arkham games are so good are for that reason. There's a gritty, grounded, realistic thrust. They're not going for like hyper realism, obviously, but like there's a realism to it that I think grounds it and makes it feel pretty, it makes it feel cool, I think. So, I don't know. I think Wolverine looks great. Real enough for the director to use it in Brand New Day. Some moves were 1-to-1. Yes, I've seen those side-by-sides of things taken directly out of Insomniac's Spider-Man and put into the movie. I don't like how his suit repairs when he heals. I hope no nanotech. I'm not really sure what they're going to do to explain that, because there are times where his suit doesn't repair. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. There's a time where his suit stays damaged, and then he heals beneath it. Like when he's got the huge hole blown through the back of his suit. That stays there, and you can literally see his skin healing beneath it. When you're in game, it feels like it's periodically going to like reset your suit. Now, I don't know if that's because it would get to the point where, like, he'd practically be naked because he'd be getting so sliced up and shot up. They'd be like, Logan, put some clothes on. Good Lord. Like, you're in here rescuing children after all. Like, I don't know if they're just doing that because it is a video game. Like, to a certain extent, they're going to have to be like, yeah, you got to reset his suit every now and again. It could be like, as Tactical Gamer is saying, it's a gameism. Because in the one scene, they draw attention to it. His back heals underneath the hole that's been sort of blown through his suit. But then when like he does the healing thing on the truck, his suit gets sort of like a reset. So he's thinking too much? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he can't just end up naked constantly. Like, basically, barely any shirt, barely any pants. You know what I mean? Like, it would look a little ridiculous. It'll get tore up and then reset later. No, people took issue with the fact that his suit resets in gameplay. Like, during gameplay, it resets. And they were like, that's kind of hokey, unless it's a nano suit. Like what Tony has. I don't think he's going to have any conversations with Tony Stark. I don't think they're going to do that, but I'd rather see his suit heal. I don't want to see cheeks. Maybe they make that an option in the settings. They're like cheeks or no cheeks, and you're like, listen, I gotta see me some Logan cheeks, y'all. Like, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? We got Jin Sakai, Atsu, and then we got Logan. Let's just get more butts in games. I think that would really elevate the experience for everybody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys are afraid. Maybe you're afraid of seeing some cheek. That's a you problem. That sounds like a you problem to me. When Mario stomps on Goombas, there's no blood. Well, that's not grounded in a realistic environment. Like, this is grounded in the real world with guns and trucks, and then there's like, fantasy elements injected into the real world, so people have superpowers and, adamantium robotic, arms and stuff. So, I would say I get the criticism. I will say this. I think sometimes people are looking for something to criticize instead of being like, oh, I actually didn't like that. Does that make sense? Like, so when I played through, like, I'll give you an example. Ghost of Tsushima. I loved almost every square inch of that game. I didn't like the missions where you had to, like, walk up to a grain of rice or footprints in the mud, and you're like, oh. It's like, what the heck am I doing? I'm suddenly, like, Jin Sakai, samurai detective. Do you know what I mean? I didn't like those, but I didn't make a big deal out of it. If somebody would have said, yeah, Tsushima was a real bore because of those missions, I'd be like, you're really overstating the case. You're really overstating, number one, the presence of the missions. Number two, as far as a criticism. It's not a very strong one, right? So I do think sometimes people are literally, it's like they're taking a fine-tooth comb and they're combing it over the game, and they're like, anything we can complain about, we're going to complain about. I don't think his suit repairing is that big of a deal. Like, I don't. I've played so many games where there's no damage, there's no blood, there's nothing on the main character. Like, I think I can forgive a game being like, I mean, yeah, every once in a while we got to reset his suit because we can't have him running around naked. Also, if you think of it from this perspective, let's say Wolvie gets in a fight with like 10 people and he's getting a bit sliced up and a bit cut up, and it adds to the sense of damage in the scene. And then he moves from that room to another room, and all the damage is still there. Well, then any damage that the new guy does to you or your suit, it's less impactful visually because it's like the damage is already there. Does that make sense? It's kind of like in like a Mon Hun, where you slowly see more and more damage on the Mon. It gives you a sense of progress. And that's why when you go into a new fight and there's no damage, you're like, oh, I got to start putting some damage on this Mon. It would be like if if you fought, a monster and then a new monster came in and it already had all this damage on it. It wouldn't be as impactful when you first started swinging. You would also probably expect it to die faster. So I think visually, from sort of an immersion standpoint, it makes more sense to have the damage reset and then periodically like show up again, if that makes sense. So people just want to complain about something. Yeah, I don't think it's that serious of a complaint. I mean, we're all gamers talking about games. It should be okay to discuss a nitpick or an outrageous critique. Well, we can discuss it and dismiss it and say it's not that big of a deal. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, yeah, his suit repairs. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. If I'm gonna weigh problems, I'm gonna say that's like a 0 for me. $5 from Broken Earth. Samurai Detective sounds like a really cool game. I'm not gonna lie, you should pitch that to Sony. Yeah, Jin Sakai, Samurai Detective. That's what he did in his older years. Yeah. Making games too realistic would be kind of boring too. We could have Escape from Tarkov territory. There's a threshold of realism in games that can. You've got to stop short, or you end up with the game that would be incredibly unfun to play. Animation clipping over magic repairs. Yeah, I think animation clipping does tend to be more of an immersion breaker, where like you get a really cool outfit and you put it on, and all this stuff's like poking through the outfit. You're like, well, that's kind of a bummer. That doesn't look as cool as I thought it was going to look. The suit magically repairing itself doesn't really bother me all that much. Wolverine's healing factor in action. This just doesn't look good. Yeah, you can think that. I don't. I think it looks fine. That'd be cool. In GTA, you can carry 1,000 guns. Right. Jin Sakai, Detective Samurai. That's what he did in his later years on the island of Tsushima. There's no point giving us costumes to choose if they all get destroyed and never repair. Superhero suits that don't self-mend or eventually fall off. That's right. Gooner game devs are taking notes. So, like, write that down. Write that down. Write it down. That'll be the next game you play. Some of you are like, why are you letting the boss beat you up? And you'll be like, just hang on a second. You'll understand in a moment. And then they're like, oh, I get it now. It's a little bloody, but, you look a little disheveled. I really don't want to play Wolverine with his cheeks bouncing on the screen. Nah, I'm good. Switching it off. I mean, listen, that's why they're going to have those options in there. Dismemberment, violence, friggin' cheeks on the screen. There will be dismemberment in the game, apparently. It got that rating, and then the accessibility screen. I think you can turn it off or on. Lono, can Jin beat Onimusha? Oh, the main character's soul in Onimusha? Oh, I don't know. God bless. Good to see you, Abe. Abe Montez. Yeah, it'll be a Stellar Blade update. That's right. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Soul in Onimusha has like magic. I think he has some magic, doesn't he? There's like different things he can do. I mean, Jin has the different stances, so he could really adapt and really put up an incredible fight. But the minute magic enters the picture, it kind of changes things. Jin's the fiercest warrior that, you know, some people had ever seen fight. He's described in the game as like he fights like an animal. Like there's something, you know, visceral and terrifying about him. But I don't think he could go up against magic. Real life games are good too. Power Wash Sim's amazing. Yeah. People really like Power Wash Sim. Do you guys think Stellar Blade for girls and some guys, would you think would be good? Maybe. I think swordsmanship for swordsmanship, Jin, low diffs. I don't understand what you're saying. In Onimusha, you have a talking cuff. Sound familiar? All right, Jack, that's enough. That's enough. Dismemberment reminds me of an old mod in the Star Wars game. The mod was called Saber Realistic Combat. It would make it so if you hit someone's arm with a lightsaber, it would lop it off. Yeah, lightsaber would be a very, very dangerous weapon. I mean, if you make one wrong move, you could cut your own leg off. Like, you know. Oh, you think it'd be a low difficulty win for Jin? I don't know about that. Jin's not beating YM. Who's YM? Miyamoto Musashi? But, oh, is that from a different game? The one that's coming out, the main character's name is Soul, is it not? Or am I thinking of Phantom Blade Zero? Am I getting my games confused? What's the lead character in I think I'm getting my games confused. Phantom Blade Zero, the lead character's name is Soul. Onimusha, lead character name is... Oh, well, the original series, it's looking like here it was... Oh, Way of the Sword is Musashi Miyamoto. Yeah, it looks like we've had Soki, Yagyu, and then Samanosuke Agechi, or something like that. Yeah. So in Way of the Sword, the one coming out, his name is Musashi Miyamoto. So there's been a bunch of different leads in the game of Onimusha. Yeah, the new one, his name is Musashi Miyamoto. Is he from the lore of the game or something? Like, is he from previous games? Like, does he have significance within the game, or is he just a brand new character? I feel like he has magical abilities. Magic always changes things. It would be like, you know, can Hawkeye beat Scarlet Witch? It's like, no. I mean, unless she's like asleep and completely unaware of him. Like in an actual, we're looking at each other, we're going to start fight, he'd be dead within seconds. Magic always tips the scales. He's a real person? Like a historical person? Musashi Miyamoto was a real person. I didn't know that. He's real. Wait, so had they always done that with the Onimusha games? Have they based them off of a real, like, legendary swordsman? He's a famous swordsman in history. So the previous leads, did they do the same thing? It's Onimusha. I got corrected that it was Onimusha. Now you're telling me it's Onimusha? Something's a little off with Wolverine. I think in some ways, Hugh looked better with the suit. It's almost like how Lion King live action was missing something compared to the cartoon. Okay, so Miyamoto Musashi was a Japanese swordsman, strategist, artist, and writer who became renowned through stories of his unique double-bladed swordsmanship and undefeated record in his 62 duels. He's considered a sword saint of Japan. Huh. That's crazy. Oh, not all of them were real? Oh, you guys are saying this is the first. Oh, that's kind of dope. That's pretty cool that, like, the dude was known for not losing 62 duels. Like, I could see getting into the double digits, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this guy's dueled 12 times and he hasn't lost yet. 20, 30, and 40 is crazy. 62? AOZ says Onimusha is correct pronunciation. Yeah, I was told it was Onimusha, not Onimusha. But does it matter? You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm bumbling it so bad and I'm like, yeah, that game coming out, Mushi Mushi. Like, I'm not completely butchering it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I like that Sword Saint. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He was the famous boss fight in Yotei as well. Oh, the one guy that you fought, that's who he was? That was Miyamoto? I thought that guy had a different name. The guy that you fight on the mountain? Jack Garland says, I do think a lot of gaming protagonists have to build an outfit for a male Stellar Blade. The only thing missing is that they would need to thrust their butt in front of the camera. That's right. Yeah, the guy in the mountain was Takazo. Was there somebody on Imusha? Yeah, I'd swear I had somebody correct me and said that it was Onimusha. And a 10 bomb comes in from Risick. He says, it's too quiet, boys. Don't let that member count slow down. Thank you, Risick. I appreciate it. Oh, Tekizo. Yeah, Tekizo's the Blizzard guy. He won't even fight you until you kill all of his people. He was tough. The only way I had to put on the outfit where the Blizzard didn't hurt me. He's based off of him. Oh, okay. So he's inspired by Miyamoto. Okay. I was like, dude, I feel like I would remember that name and a guy renowned for never losing a duel. I mean, I guess he is renowned for never losing duels or whatever. And a single comes in from Broken Earth and gets us to 223. At 225, I owe you guys a member. What outlets are doing the Wolverine previews? Will they include YouTubers? I have no idea. And another one comes in from Broken Earth and gets us to 224. Tekizo was Musashi's birth name, allegedly. Oh. So they got a little... That was a deep cut there. They were really making sure that people, if you really knew history, you might know who he was based off of. Interesting. And another one comes in. There it is, 225. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let us make sure that I am paid up. We are now at 225. You guys are going to have a heck of a climb tomorrow. Everybody's going to have to join in with singles, renewals. You know, everybody. Make sure you guys are also hitting the like button. Try to get us to 200 likes before the first hour is up. We already have like 140 something. Appreciate you guys for doing that. It's hilarious to me that Ghost of Yotei DLC is the top 5 pre-order in a PlayStation store. I thought we were boycotting Sony. I mean, homie, nobody's really going to boycott Sony. The number of people that are actually going to do that and stick to their guns is like... Risick with another single. There it is. An Agent of Chaos pushes us past the 226. Looking forward to The Last Ronin. Yeah, I'd like to see some gameplay. I wonder what it's going to look like. I'll add to it. Thank you, Enjoy. Do you guys see what Enjoy just did? 38 months and a member plus. You can celebrate your membership renewals. Click the $ at the bottom of the chat. If you're already paying for it, you want to make sure you're celebrating it, so that way it gets included in the total. The noisy few, yeah. Let them, you know? Let them. The rest of us are just going to play games. I bet half the voices complaining weren't even on PlayStation. I mean, that's always going to be the dilemma of any kind of a movement like that on Twitter and Reddit and comments and likes and brigades. It's just a lot of people that enjoy the chaos of that. They don't really care. So, Oh, I forgot to change the title over there on Twitch. Whoops. Sneaky Wolf. Thank you so much for the gifted. I swore I changed this. I guess I didn't. Wolverine previews soon. I'll just change it to that, I guess. Thank you, Sneaky Wolf, for doing your part. Every single gifted, all of them help. Renewals, everything. So everybody can help. I appreciate that, Sneaky. Real people are upset, but it's hardly a movement. Yeah, I mean, I think there are people that are genuinely upset. I'm speaking just to the brigading that goes on, like the downvoting and like the hopping on the tweets and all of that. I mean, a lot of those people are just doing it because they like to be a part of the chaos. Like, they're not actually going to stop gaming. They're not actually going to stop buying games. The one that people are like, oh, this is my first Blu-ray, this is my first whatever, this will be my last PlayStation. It's like, sure, I really bet a ton of you are going to do that. You're going to completely turn your back on an entire collection. Like, the number of people that actually stick to it and do it, I think, are minuscule, because the average person's not going to completely turn their back on a digital library. Even if you've been super, super big on, physical collections and buying physical games, it would be unlikely in 2026 there's a quantifiable amount of people who literally have no digital games. Like, I just don't think people are going to turn their back on a collection like that. Unless, I mean, obviously the price of the PS6 could play a role, because it is going to be really expensive from everything we're hearing, but I just don't think a lot of people are going to stick with it. If they've been with the company that long, that means they have a pretty big library. So, thank you, Roadkill, for reminding everybody to smash the like button. Appreciate that. People are scared to stand on business in 2026. I mean, I don't know about scared. I just don't think many people are that convictionally driven about something like this. Like, I've got convictions about things that are far more important than, like, whether or not discs are made. I don't know. I believe there are bigger and more significant issues in life than that. I don't know. I'm more worried about, like, coaching and raising my kids and being good friends to people around me and supporting people that need help. Like, I don't know. Yeah, chat's open today. We're only going to do the members only thing every now and again. I just want you guys to kind of feel that, like, oh man, if you can support the channel, consider doing it. I understand when you can't. I understand a lot of people can't, but I want people to periodically consider being like, yeah, maybe I should support the channel with a membership. There's reasons to do it, like a members only chat, a Discord, what have you. How powerful will the PSX be compared to the Pro? We don't know. I don't think it's going to be this big, gigantic power leap. I think it's going to be a fidelity leap. It'll be like a visual lift with, like, ray tracing, upscaling, neural processing for, better physics or better worlds, more reactive environments, things like that. I don't necessarily think it's going to be like this monster of a power jump. I think Mark Cerny signaled that when he did the one, it's like an interview or a stream or whatever with the guy from AMD. All I want is refunds. Yeah, I would like right to refund, I think, should be a standard. I think that's something that we should fight for. If we're going to go to a digital-only environment, we should have the right to refund. I think that's a very reasonable request. I don't think that is insane. I have a vid for you to check out on a guy that created physical copies of CPU games. Pretty cool vid. With all due respect, homie, I'm not interested in that. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care about that stuff. I just don't care about that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I barely have time to watch the things I want to watch. I'm not going to watch a video about something I'm not interested in. I just get scared that Sony will take my backlog, that I'll never get to everything if it's digital. Yeah, I don't think that fear is founded. I think that's, again, with all due respect, I think people just, yes, it can happen, but I don't think they're going to do it. You can lose access to your account, and that's a scary thing. It is. You could lose access to your Steam account. Is that stopping people from building Steam libraries? Like, oh no, I might get hacked and then I'd lose all my games. We don't express this fear in other environments, so I don't know. I'm be honest with you guys. Let's get off this subject because I just think so much of it is drenched in silliness and I get annoyed. It's not a fun topic. It's drenched in exaggeration, bad faith, just things that are just made up. And it's like, I don't want to talk about this. It is boring. It is not exciting. We've got games coming out. We've got exciting things to do. This hand-wringing over this future, I just don't freaking care. Noberto was 63 months and a VIP. Much love, homies. Stoked about the Yotei news diving in this fall once I have time, so I'm eating good. So the news today, which we should have something brand new very, very soon. We should have Marvel Wolverine previews. Those are dropping today. Those are not reviews. Okay, those are not reviews. The Ghost of Yotei Complete Edition dropped yesterday. And they announced Crimson Desert DLC. They won't say anything until they're not going to be saying anything about it until we get a little bit closer. I think they're going to do something in the fall, is what they said. Something in the fall for the Crimson Desert DLC. And then there was also an announcement about the Arc Raiders, the biggest update that they've ever done. So, pretty exciting. Big things coming for those games. Make sure you guys have done your diligence of hitting the thumbs up button. Yo, good morning. How are you, Jason? Went to PlayStation Store to pre-order Ghost of Yotei, but I wasn't sure if it was the physical version that I was getting than the digital. Is there a way to check that out? You want me to help you figure out if you're ordering a physical or digital edition? Brother, I love you, but I'm not doing that. That is not what I'm going to spend any time today doing. Sorry. You reach out to Sony. I'm not spending a minute on that, brother. Are they going to go to Digital Foundry with another PS5? Yes, Ristic. They are going to, they're going to go and they're going to take a PlayStation with the Crimson Desert DLC pre-installed. They're going to give it to John Linneman. They're going to snuggle that night. They're going to have a little sleepover in John's living room. I think he's joking. I don't know if he's joking or not. He says it was placed in the cart with no information. I don't know what to say. I'm an old man, and I'm driving my garbage truck. Well, don't do that while you're driving. Don't text, type, or try to order things, Jason. What are you doing? No. That is not... We're not doing this right now, bro. I'm not going to walk you through how to order something while you're driving. Jiminy Christmas. People have gotten locked out of their accounts for one reason or another. Sony's removed paid movies. Acting like there's no cause for concern is confusing. I'm not saying it's a big concern, but it's not unfounded. And I'm not interested. They did win Best Performance Award. That's right. Yeah. A 10 spot from the OA says, I played 200 hours of Arc Raiders in the first months. Was there for the server slam. The matchmaking talk was fun, but now it feels like Embark moved to the next thing already, and that's sad. Well, I don't feel like they've moved to the next thing. Here's what was happening, okay? They were pushing things out too much. So what happens when you're doing that is a couple of things can happen. There was a time where Fortnite was pushing out like a weekly patch. Okay? They're pushing out a weekly patch. And they would actually create problems. They had a serious version control problem. So they would fix a problem. There was a thing in Fortnite, this is way back in the day, where like your gun would float above your head and like you couldn't use it. It was really, really weird. Like you would swap your gun and then you would go to use it and you couldn't. It was like floating in the sky or whatever. Well, they fixed it And then they brought it back. Why? They were literally patching the game every week, okay? So, the cadence of your updates can cause problems. Well, Arc Raiders was doing regular updates as well. Well, okay, let's just say they were doing it and it wasn't causing version control problems. What it was doing, though, is it was obviously going to lack substance. It was going to lack substance. You're updating the game so close together, you can't really dig in and make a significant update to progression or the grind or like whatever, okay? So they decided they were going to spread out their updates, which is what they announced yesterday. The Frozen Trail is their biggest update since launch, an entirely new area that you can go and play in. The weather will change the layout of the map. So if you remember, and see, I covered this in my video last night. It's a great reason to watch those videos when they hit, all right? The gaming news breaks. We're going to try to have those uploads for you. Well, something I talked about in my upload was one of the things that made Arc Raiders and still makes Arc Raiders so enjoyable is something that I call, I'm not sure, I didn't coin this phrase. I heard it once, and I think it really applies here. It's emergent gameplay. What it means is like there's always something sort of that emerges from the randomness of you got the Arc and their AI is really tuned well. You've got proximity chat. You've got the threat of PvP. The emergent gameplay in Arc Raiders was and still is pretty dadgum intoxicating because you never know what's going to happen. And streamers made some very entertaining clips out of it, okay? Well, the new map is going to add even more emergent gameplay if the weather can change the landscape and things that are going on. That's one more factor in the equation of like no match ever feels the same. They're also overhauling progression. So you're going to have like new things to grind and new things to do and an entirely new system or whatever. I can't remember everything off the top of my head now. I made the video last night. So I don't think they like walked away from Arc Raiders. Fantastic video you put out yesterday. Thank you. I don't think they like walked away. I don't think they were like, "Oh yeah, we're done. We don't care anymore," or what have you. I don't think that's the case. So, yeah, if you feel that way, I understand why you feel that way, because what they did in essence, was that they stopped doing things. So you might be like, oh, they're not saying anything anymore. They're not updating anymore. They're not adding anything anymore. Completely understandable why you might be like, oh, wow, they went radio silent or what have you. But I wouldn't think that that's their strategy. Like, it's made them so much money and it's been so successful. I think that their spacing out of the updates was the right call. Now, does it yield what they need? I don't know. It can be very damaging to your live service game to have that amount of silence. You know? It can be very damaging. So, like, it certainly could. It certainly could result in a diminished turnout going forward. But I do think whenever you do an update like that, people are going to come clamoring back. I mean, I would think. They're going to come clamoring back. They're going to come in and they're going to want to know what's going on and they're going to play. The timing of it's going to be a little rough. So the timing of the Arc Raiders update is October the 8th, okay? Well, one of the dilemmas there is October is a rough month to do anything in. There's not a lot of games doing anything in October because I think everybody was scared of the GTA 6 marketing. So, and a single comes in from Rissick, and he gets us to 230. We are exactly 20 away from 250. Somebody has to take the glory today from Rissick. The guy's got like 35 gifteds already. And he does another one. He's just ornery this morning, and he bumps the line to 231. Now the 20 bomb is an Agents of Chaos. It's one of the biggest Agents of Chaos you could do. Let's see it. So every live service game faces this. This is why all the marathon debates literally hurt my brain. Because, like, even the biggest games fall prey to this. They just do. They run out of gas, they run out of momentum, they run out of inertia, and the player numbers drop. It's like gravity. It's unavoidable. Eventually, it happens. Eventually, they start to drop. The issue is never, will our live service game have decline? That's never the question. The question is, how fast will the decline happen? Where's the floor? Is the floor a sustainable number? Like, is that going to help us be sustainable? And then can we create healthy re-engagement patterns? Yo, Jesse gifts a single. Keep them coming, boys. Thank you, Jesse. Like, again, that's why the marathon discussions drove me batty. I was like, you guys are not staring at reality here. Like, we've watched countless live service games come out, and we know they all trend in the same direction. If you fall too fast, it's a death sentence. If the floor gets too low, it's a death sentence. So the question with Arc Raiders isn't, oh my gosh, you know, is the game dead? Is the game garbage? It's like the game did the same thing every other live service game did. It had its moment in the sun. They made hay while the sun was shining, made a bunch of money, and now they've got to figure out whether or not they can create healthy re-engagement patterns. That's what they have to figure out. Can we create healthy re-engagement patterns? Can we get people to log back in every couple of months, play for a couple of weeks, spend money, and keep the engine going? Think of it like if you've ever watched anybody hand glide. Okay? If you ever watch anybody hand glide, what they do is a method, and you've done this in games yourself, right? Is you dive to pick up speed, and then that speed yields you lift, okay? But eventually the hang glider is going to start to come down. You know, there could be methods of like staying up indefinitely if you're in the right places and there's thermals and what have you. I'm not an expert in hang gliding. I'm just using it as an analogy that generally speaking, you will see the hang glider slowly descend. So that's what live service games look like. It's like, okay, on the way down, can you come back up enough to keep the thing in the air? Like, that's essentially what you're trying to do. The OA with a 20 super chat says, I agree. They added new content, new maps, and conditions. Tried those. My point was more about things under the hood, like a better expedition system, economy overhaul, the crap fest with cheaters. They haven't addressed any. I don't know if they're going to address the cheating in the update in October, but they do seem to be addressing the grind. They're attempting to. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I played so much I burned myself out. I mean, I think in general with live service games, people lack self-awareness. I don't say that as an insult. I mean, I commonly had to remind myself that, like, the way I played Destiny was anomalous. Like, sitting in the game for 8 hours a day, being able to have people jump in and run raids with me was very, very abnormal. It wasn't the normal everyman's experience. So I get the lack of self-awareness. Sometimes you could get to the end of the road and be like, this game sucks, I'm so annoyed. And it's like, well, you played a lot. I mean, I used to say this all the time about Destiny. I would say they can't legislate to the hardcore player. It's not possible. Okay? It isn't possible. Helldivers is still pretty healthy with engagement on updates. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Even the most explosive, most successful, I'm not saying this is the most, I'm speaking generically, even one of the most successful and we would argue one of the better live service games of late, this is what it looked like. The green bar is the most important. So this is Helldivers 2. So they come crashing down from all that fame. Now, keep in mind, this isn't like a day or two. This is months represented by this decline. Okay? You got to remember, these are months. All right? Now, down here, what do we have? We have a floor, and we have healthy re-engagement. That's what this is. This is the destination for every live service game. This is your destination. You will decline to a floor. If you can't figure out how to decline to a floor and then have healthy re-engagement, pack it up and go home. Pack it up and go home. You're cooked. Right? Here is Marvel Rivals. Crazy, crazy start. Comes screaming down over months. Right? Oh, wow. Look. But then look. It's a floor. It's a floor with healthy re-engagement. 100 to 150,000. Right? Player peaks. This is why I think commonly whenever people are talking about such and such game has lost all of its players, such and such game has had this level of decline. This is why when you look at Marathon, you can't tell me that this is not a game, this is a dead man walking. This is a dead man walking. There is no floor yet. It just keeps declining. The decline hasn't stopped yet. So you compare that to this. The decline stops. Back up, down, 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 right? This is just little spike, new season, down, 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 little spike. I don't know what that was. Was that the community rallying or something? And then down, 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 down. They're cooked. I mean, they're not. They haven't found their floor yet. So they're like, if you look at Helldivers or you look at Arc Raiders, you look at any of these games, and you're like, oh my gosh, they've lost so many players. It's like, as long as they find their floor and they get healthy re-engagement, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. If I opened up a business, and the first week the business was opened, there was a line around the block. That's great, but that's not sustainable. That's not going to happen every day, okay? There are these restaurants and these breakfast places where you got to go line up, and there's always a line. A lot of that has to do with limited supply, and that's why that happens. They're going to literally run out of food. They're not going to be able to serve breakfast. There's also only so many hours in a day. So, like, right, some of these places literally open. They run their breakfast from 8 to noon. And if you don't get in line, you ain't getting breakfast that day from that place of business. The demand is unusually high for some. These are anomalous situations in restaurants, okay? But let's just say, I open my business, lines around a block, for a couple of days in a row. And then you come back and it's just normal. A month later, you just come and you're like, oh man, you must be crashing and burning in here. The line's not around the block. And I would say, oh no, we're doing fine. We've settled into predictable foot traffic, and we've settled into predictable conversions of sales, like X number of people come in a day, X number leave with a purchase, blah, 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 blah. So you would make the error of like comparing my business's absolute explosive peak to the day to day. It would be like going to the AT&T store the day the iPhone released. I was there. It was absurd, okay? And then if you compared the normal day-to-day foot traffic, you'd be like, man, you guys are dead in the water. You're going to be closing up shop soon. It's like, well, no, you're comparing our day-to-day to an anomalous peak. You have to remember that with live service games, I think. Arc Raiders and Helldivers and Marvel Rivals especially had these explosive launches. They're never going to stay up there. They're always going to come down from there. As long as their day-to-day, week-to-week engagement patterns are healthy, you have enough people coming back so the matchmaking works, people are having a good time, they feel like it's a living game, and they're spending money, then you're good. When you fall below minimum viable player numbers, so matchmaking breaks, when you fall below minimum viable numbers, so like people aren't spending money, people aren't buying things, well, that's going to be an issue. That's when the live service game is in a catastrophic state. So I don't worry about Arc Raiders just yet. The real question for Arc Raiders is, can their new format of content delivery survive? Can it survive? That's the question. I don't think the question is it dead right now? The question is, can it survive with the new format? I personally think that it can. I think they've got something special. I think they understand how to move within the space. I think they know what's required for their particular game. So I think they'll do just fine. 4Loop was kind of meh on the beta. Yeah, 4Loop, the only reason I think 4Loop could be okay is because if the budget's particularly small, they could at least make back the budget and break even. I don't think ongoing engagement for a game like 4Loop is going to be particularly good. Horizon Hunters Gathering I think looks pretty looks pretty bad. I think their strategy of we're gonna have like a variety of attempts here. Like if you go all the way back to when Herman Hulst was interviewed about their strategy for live service games, he basically said that they weren't going to be doing a bunch of Fortnites is basically what he said. Okay, they weren't going to be doing a bunch of Fortnites. They were going to have a bunch of different genres and a bunch of different games. Okay. And I think the strategy, there's still remnants of it coming right now. I think that's what Horizon Hunters Gathering is. I think that's what Fair Games, which is now called Breakout. I think that's what that is. I think that's what 4Loop is. I think they're small bets. That's what I think they are. That's what Helldivers 2 was. I think Helldivers 2 was a small bet. They know that the small bets, a lot of them are going to lose. I think they know that. I think that's why they were willing to cancel, 3 or 4 live service games, and then obviously they had one crash and burn right in view of the public, and then Marathon really wasn't something that they greenlit. They kind of inherited that, but that one's doing its own thing. So I think that that's what this is. I think it's the remnant of a strategy that failure's baked into the strategy. Like, I think people are looking at it. I'm looking at it and being critical of it. I'm thinking I think it's IP and brand malpractice to treat Horizon the way it's being treated. Like, I had a guy jump on my tweet, and I was excited about the Serious Sam first-person shooter rogue that's coming. We finally got a release date. And he's like, well, you've been really critical of what Horizon Hunters Gathering looks like. Why do you like this game? And I'm like, if you misunderstand my point that severely, I'm not sure I can help you, but allow me to try to help you. My issue with what Horizon Hunters Gathering looks like is it looks like a generic Fortnite mode. It doesn't look like Horizon. It's a jettison from brand identity. It's a jettison from art direction, okay? Serious Sam has never been a very serious game. It's been tongue-in-cheek. It's been very Duke Nukem adjacent, and it's just a goofy shooter. It's also just a goofy shooter rogue. So I don't expect it to look a whole lot different than it does. Like, just like I don't expect Duskfade to look much different than it does. It's not meant to be hyper-realistic. Like, I'm not going to play Kena Bridge of Spirits or the sequel to Kena and be critical, right? I'm not going to do that. I'd be critical of, like, oh, Kena doesn't look as photorealistic as, like, Horizon or something, right? So when you look at like Horizon Hunters Gathering, to me, my issue isn't the art direction. My issue is the art direction is a jettison of what the brand and the identity of Horizon is. It also looks generic and hollow as a live service game. It kind of looks like a mobile game. It kind of looks like a Fortnite limited time mode. You know what I mean? So, in you saying somebody calls me a Sony simp, I mean, I really don't concern myself with the bleedings of sheep. I just don't. I don't care what people say about me, brother. I think it's clear in my content that I do not simp for Sony. I'm being very critical of a lot of the things they've done lately. I'm being critical right now of Horizon Hunters Gathering. So that's just, that's just somebody being dishonest. There's no reason to concern yourself with them. I don't. So when I look at their live service strategy, like, I understand on paper what they were doing. They were placing small bets. They were like, let's do a Helldivers. Let's do a God of War live service game. Now, the reason I was glad that the God of War live service game got canceled is related to my frustration with Horizon Hunters Gathering. I think it's brand malpractice. I think it's IP malpractice to take something that is somewhat sacred and treat it that way. Does that make sense? Like, these are brand ambassadors. These are identifying markers of the brand. God of War, Horizon, like, you've got, historically, Uncharted. If they would have come out with like an Uncharted Battle Royale, I'd be like, what are you doing? You see what I'm saying? A $10 super chat from the OA. Exactly what I told my girlfriend. Honey, you're comparing day to day to Anonymous Explosive Peak. I settled into predictable foot traffic. She hasn't. Hey. Now, hang on a minute. My analogy, it only goes so far, okay? In any case, I just feel like it's brand and IP malpractice to treat the games that way. A God of War live service game, had it come to market, I think would have been embarrassing. I think it would have been a failure. People have been like, what are you doing? I think the same of Hunter's Gathering. If they would have made an Uncharted Battle Royale, I would have been equally critical. IP abuse. Let's lure the single-player gamers into a live service game. Now, hang on a minute. I think there are times where it can work. So, the Ratchet and Clank mobile game looks and feels like the IP. It does. The Horizon MMO, Horizon Steel Frontier, it looks and it feels like the IP. I actually think that's a perfectly good strategy to say, hey, we've got this long-standing game that we know people like. Like, what if they would have let you, the Spider-Man multiplayer game that we saw rumors of? I'd have been fine with that. Running around the city with other Spider-Men, like an Into the Spider-Verse sort of a situation. You got Spider-Gwen, you got Miles, you got Peter, you got everybody running around. That'd have been fun, right? Especially if it looked and felt like Spider-Man. Do you see? That's the issue. You've got to... How do I want to say this? Okay, let's imagine that you have a technology that can do some sort of replicative creation. And let's say you've got a Fabergé egg. All right? You are going to treat that Fabergé egg with reverence, respect, and care as you take it over and place it in the machine. And you want to make sure everything's lined up so that when it does this, it doesn't damage the egg. Okay? It's a priceless, revered treasure. That's what your IP is when it gets to the level of notoriety and brand recognition as God of War, Horizon, even their Spider-Man games. They've hit a level of, you better treat this with some reverence and respect because it's incredibly valuable to you. So when you take it and you're like, okay, I've got an idea. We have tons of Horizon fans. So let's make a Horizon live service game. Now, why is this a good strategy? Well, the single greatest challenge of any live service game is establishing a community, establishing interest and loyalty and investment. A brand new live service game comes out tomorrow, and it's called Soul Destroyer. And the entire game is an MMO where you're traveling around with people, and it's very Souls adjacent, and you're killing things, and you're getting souls, and then you can go into PvP arenas and fight other people, and Soul Destroyer hopes to be the next big MMO. You've never played it, you have no allegiance to it, you have no investment in it. It's extremely hard to get tons of people to suddenly become very invested in Soul Destroyer. Okay, so taking the Horizon IP and saying, hey, let's make a live service game, it logically and strategically makes sense. That's why when I look at Horizon Steel Frontier, the MMO they're building for mobile, I'm like, that makes sense. It's like adjacent to the game. It's like, oh, no, yeah, this is in the world of Horizon. It looks like it feels like it. I remember when we heard they were going to do it, I was like, I actually think Horizon would work for an MMO because you've got the open world, you've got all the different tribes, you've got all the different armor, different customs, different weaponry, different beasts. You could go to different biomes, you could create raids. I was like, I could see it working. I really could. Then we saw the situation with Horizon Hunters Gathering, and I was like, this is not adjacent to Horizon at all. This is something else entirely. It's like it didn't replicate the Fabergé egg. It spit out a Vermont volleyball. And you're like, they're sort of similar in shape and size, and the colors are kind of the same, but they're completely different. That's the issue with Horizon Hunters Gathering. It's a complete jettison of what people like, and if you don't treat the brand and the IP with reverence, you're going to get bad results. Kind of like Lao Fei, brand malpractice. Oh, I completely disagree. I think that's an overstated, complaint from people who do nothing but say the same thing about every game that features a woman in it. I find the analysis of Lao Fei to be embarrassing and stupid. It's incredible. You have a big name actor that everybody loves. She's a genuine nerd. Like, she's a genuine gamer. It is a pivotal aspect of God of War 2018. And they had this plan put in place as far back as 2018. There are literal touchstone moments within 2018 and Ragnarok where Faye will be interacting with that world. Like, maybe she's the one that blows the horn in 2018. To say that that's brand malpractice has got to be, I think, one of the worst assessments I've probably seen lately. Gaming dialogue has become such a pile of stupid refuse and ignoramus takes. It's thoughtless. It absolutely is a God of War game without Kratos. How is that hard to understand? It's easy to understand because it's superficial and vapid. You're not saying anything. It's very easy to understand because it's an off-the-shelf empty criticism. It's not difficult to understand. What it is it's difficult to argue. Good, then don't call it God of War. Yeah, it's a superficial criticism. You're upset about the name of the game. I don't care about that. I thought when they switched from Gods and Monsters to Immortals Phoenix Rising, that's probably one of the worst names of a video game I think I've ever seen. And it didn't affect my enjoyment of the game. I thought Immortals Phoenix Rising was sadly a very underrated, underappreciated game. I really, really liked it. I really, really did. But I wasn't like, oh, what a terrible game because of the title. Like, it's a superficial criticism. There's nothing to it. You're upset about the name. Like, what? It's a continuation of the story of the God of War. It is. It's a continuation of the story. This dude is a shill. If you want to call me names, it just proves you can't argue. That's resorting to a fallacy. Like, no one's ever going to be compelled by name calling. That's childish. You've got to come to the mat and have a conversation. You can name call, but it doesn't change anything that I've stated. It doesn't. There's no refutation. There's nothing. You're just name calling. Like, it's a continuation of that story, and And they have stated that God of War Lao Fei is literally going to lead up to the next Kratos game. I think this is great. I couldn't be happier. God of War 2018 and Ragnarok are fabulous stories. They're amazing. And Fei is a significant part of that story. So I'm sorry. Listen, you don't have to like it. You don't have to buy it. But I think the criticism is superficial and vapid. You're not saying anything. You're like, oh, well, they shouldn't have called it that. Oh, okay. So if they called it Lao Fei instead, just Lao Fei, what would that change? What would it change? Fundamentally, what would it change? It's cosmetic. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. You know? If it's a big deal to you, so be it, you know? Hopefully you stand by all your convictions and bluster about it, and then you don't buy the game. If it matters that much to you. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. And I've not been compelled by anybody. The arguments about it, I've watched the videos, I've listened to what people have said. I find their argumentation to be incredibly shallow and unconvincing. Yo, what's good, Dan? No one's going to be thinking about the name of the game when they're playing the game. I mean, I'll say that I thought Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced was kind of a stupid name, like just call it a remake, but that's not affecting my enjoyment of it. You know what I mean? I think they called it Resynced because they were being a little bit cute and a little on the nose because of, desyncing, and all of that. And they didn't want to call it a remake because there's stigma around remakes. Sneaky says God of War is a universe now, kind of like Marvel. Like, if I'm playing Wolverine or Jean Grey, it's still Marvel. Right. So, here's the interesting thing about taking issue with the name, okay? God of War Lao Fei. And this is why it's superficial analysis, because if we actually do analysis, I actually think we would be compelled to be more excited, even as a fan of Kratos. And allow me to explain. The name God of War Lao Fei isn't just a name. It's a promise. They are promising that this story is linked to, orbits around, and will culminate in more of Kratos' journey. Therefore, calling it God of War Lao Fei makes perfectly good sense. It's not just the name of the game. It's a promise about what's going to happen in the story and what is coming in the future. So if you're a huge fan of Kratos, I think the superficial complaint about the name of the game is uncompelling. It doesn't compel me at all because it's superficial and it doesn't actually analyze what's going on. That's the best argument I think I could probably make if we're going to actually entertain the name of the game criticism. It's shallow. If you actually think about what the name represents, it's a promise about what we're going to get with Kratos, is more of Kratos, more of the God of War. This is all taking place adjacent to him. It's his wife, for crying out loud. It's his wife. Terror, thank you so much for using your Prime sub on Purple. Welcome back. They're making it clear it's part of the God of War story. That's the best argument I can give you. I think the criticism's shallow and superficial. I don't think it's very thoughtful. I just think it's this weird reflexive anger thing that we do now. And I'm like, I think the name is a promise. My issues with Lao Fei is the millennial dialogue. I need to do a video on that because I don't think it's millennial at all. I think the criticism of millennial writing is also shallow and not thought out. Am I up watching an episode of New Girl or playing God of War? I watched the entire opening and there was no millennial writing at all. It's just her talking. It's her talking to the guy. And then when the other gods come in, you actually think her dialogue with the gods that are threatening to kill her, you think that's millennial writing? I think the cube has whimsy, but the cube is not everybody. The cube is not all of the dialogue. I want you to explain to me, what about her dialogue with the gods is millennial? I need you to spell that out for me, because this is what I call assertion fatigue. I have assertion fatigue because people just assert things. It's millennial writing. Okay, that's an assertion. Now make an argument. How? How is it millennial writing? Explain it to me. Do the actual diligence of literary criticism and explain to me how this is millennial writing. I mean, I know it sounds good, and I know, some pretty big creators are saying it's millennial writing. Argue it. Argue the point. $5 from Jack Garland. The 2008 game should have never been called God of War. He was no longer a proper god, let alone one of war. Yeah, they should have called it, Dad of Slumber. He did a lot of sleeping. He did a lot of sleeping. Dad of Slumber is what they should have called it. Kratos wasn't the real god of war for the majority of the games. He only became the god of war after killing Ares at the end of 1. He was god of war in Ghosts of Sparta, and he lost it in 2. Yeah, nobody takes issue with the name in those games, do they? See, it's a superficial criticism. If you try to apply the criticism to the other games, it doesn't even work. The ribbon says she's not a sword, obviously, and the cube calls Lao Fei boss. Those are only 2 lines remotely close to anything millennial. Feels weak to me. Well, here's the issue. I will admit that the cube and the talking ribbon have an element of non-seriousness and whimsy. They feel disconnected from the gravity of the situation. This is what millennial writing often feels like. Some people call it Marvel writing. It's this self-aware, tongue-in-cheek. It's not super serious. It's like when Star-Lord and Iron Man are debating how to take out Thanos, and he's like, don't call us plucky. We don't know what it means. And he's like, let's go with my plan so that it doesn't suck. The seriousness and the gravity of that situation is not landing on the dialogue, okay? And it works in the Marvel movies, and lots of other people have tried to do it. Here's the mistake people are making. Whimsy or levity or joviality, irreverence or goofiness does not always equal millennial writing, right? Now, if Faye woke up and was like, I think I took a wrong turn, you'd be like looking at the camera like, what the frick? Like, if she woke up and was being lighthearted and jovial, then you would be able to convince me that, yes, they had given over to sort of like the millennial Marvel writing. She doesn't do that. She's panicked. She's worried. She's exasperated. She's concerned about what's going on with her plan. She's scratching at her hand. Like when she interacts with the gods, they're talking about killing each other. She's all bloody. She's gritty. There is none of that in the writing until you get to the cube and until you get to the ribbon, okay? You can have characters that embody sort of a whimsical goofiness, but that doesn't mean that it's millennial writing. Like if you watch Rogue One, K2SO brings levity and comic relief often. If there's multiple times in Rogue One, you go from a very serious, intense scene to laughing at K2SO. Nobody would watch Rogue One and be like, yeah, millennial writing, a droid cracking jokes. Bleh. Nobody would do that. That's literally his role in the movie. Is he's basically Rogue One C-3PO. He's the comic relief droid. Okay. So I think what's happening is it in a similar way that people are like, oh, it's a girl. It's a strong woman. It's going to be girl boss Mary Sue trash. They just immediately jump to they immediately jump to the cliche. They immediately jump to the stereotype, and it's like, well, maybe not. Like, people did that with Yotei, and it was like, Atsu's not a Mary Sue. Atsu's not a girl boss. She gets beat up. She almost dies. She gets humbled. She gets scolded. She gets corrected. She has to train, right? Like, her character arc is wonderful because part of the reason people get critical of Mary Sues and girl bosses is they don't change. They show up awesome. Everybody's supposed to acknowledge their awesomeness. Conclusion of movie is this girl's awesome. That was not how Yotei went. It's certainly not how Lao Fei's going to go. She's acting all tough and mouthy, and she gets punched, and she just has to get thrown into a cage. She starts fighting. She gets her magic back, right? And that's a promise of, hey, she's going to get stronger. She's going to have to overcome whatever the heck just happened to her. One of the most common literary uses in story. All stories are crisis, struggle, resolution. They have those three components. And often the best way to signify the crisis is with the sentence, something changed. Most books that open, they open and they grab your attention with the literary device of something changed. Okay? And if you do a breakdown of Lao Fei, that's what happens. It opens up and something changed. Something's wrong. She's not where she's supposed to be. There's your crisis. And from that point on, the struggle begins. And they clearly drop those seeds of promise of like, she's going to get stronger. She's going to fight. She's going to try to overcome this situation. And then you have characters that play different roles. Protagonist, antagonist, comic relief, right? And so the cube and the ribbon are the whimsy. They're the joviality. They're the comic relief. They're the light-hearted companion. You got a little bit of this in God of War 2018 with the talking head. So I do not think, and I've not been convinced or compelled that like all of a sudden Santa Monica's writing team was like, let's take all that we've done, all the work and groundwork that we laid with 2018 and Ragnarok, let's just throw that in the trash and do goofy, whimsical, millennial writing. I don't think so. Thank you, Rissick, for 2 singles. Boom, boom. And another one, 236. Guys, Rissick is trying to motivate some of y'all to start putting in the members. Don't let him do it all. Brock, Sindri, and Mimir were comic relief and also had serious moments. I expect the same from the cube and the ribbon. Exactly. I've been meaning to go back and like watch it and do a breakdown. I just kind of did one on the fly because like I've literally studied the art of storytelling. I've studied it. I've listened to books on it. I've read books on it. It's something that I actually took a class in my undergrad where that's what we literally did. We would break down great epic stories and talk about them. It was a class called Great Books. And I don't think most of the people that are claiming it has millennial writing even have a shred of literary critical analysis, moxie. It's like you're just saying it because it's what people say now. Oh, it's a little goofy, it's millennial. Okay. Thank you, Nar Waffle, for gifting a member. "20 minutes on a game series I have no interest in." I believe my best response to you is boo-hoo. Doe Devas with 53 months and a member plus. Good morning, Lono. Glad you're setting this millennial writing talking point straight. I appreciate it, Doe Devas. Thank you very much. And a 5-bomb from Doe Devas. That's his ritual. He renews and he drops a 5-bomb and blesses others. Thank you so much for doing that, Doe Devas. We are 7 away from 250. It's not the newest Dragon Age when it comes to writing. There was such cringe game, awful writing. Yes, there was significantly bad writing in Dragon Age. Yes, the self-insertion of Tash was awful. I'm not mad. I don't understand the observation then. It sounded like you were displeased with the conversation. Unless you're saying, wow, you just made a conversation interesting about a game I'm not interested in. If you were paying me a compliment, it didn't really come off that way. Like, if you were paying me a compliment, I'll take it. You were like, I'm not even interested in this game, and he made that conversation pretty interesting. Like, it didn't seem like a compliment. It seemed like you were complaining. That's why I was like, well, boo-hoo. You know what I mean? We're just in here talking, man. We're just doing our thing. We are doing our thing. Just a comment in chat, that's all. No comment is benign. There is intention behind the comment. It seems like what you're doing now is sort of like the backpedal, I guess. I don't understand. You just said it. You had no intention behind it? You ain't gotta lie, Craig. I don't hate it, but the first impression didn't impress me much. Lao Fei's a wait and see. Okay. Here's my issue, Castillo. What you just said's fine. When someone says, yeah, I don't know, that trailer didn't really wow me. Okay, that's fine. It would be like going to like a fireworks display. Like, let's say you come to Louisville, Kentucky, where I live, and I take you to Thunder over Louisville. It's like the biggest North American fireworks display. It's amazing, right? And if you were like, it didn't really wow me, I'd be like, oh. And if you were like, yeah, I've been to Tokyo or something, I'd be like, well, I mean, that explains it, right? There might be contextual reasons as to why, it didn't wow you. Now, let's have a different conversation. And if you said, yeah, I felt like the colors were really bland. There weren't enough colors. I'd be like, that's kind of a measurable thing, right? I could go through and rewatch the entire fireworks display and be like, there was red, green, purple, yellow. There were the sparkly, explosive yellow, white ones. I'm sorry. There was every color in the dadgum rainbow. What are you talking about, right? It sounds to me like in that instance you were saying something that is sort of untrue about it. Your assessment of the essence of it would be false at that point. I'm like, huh? If you're just like, yeah, it didn't really wow me, and maybe you could give contextual reasons as to why it didn't wow you. You're like, well, I grew up in Tokyo, and there were annual fireworks events that were way bigger than this, and da-da-da-da-da. I'd be like, oh, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But if you were saying things about the show that I felt were untrue, it was really quiet. There weren't very many colors. I'd be like, what? That's what I feel like happens in these conversations. It's completely fine to watch a trailer and to be like, yeah, I didn't really like it. I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's okay. Not every trailer is going to blow your hair back. There are people that thought Wolverine looked great, and then they thought one of the recent trailers, he looked a little goofy. I admit, he does look a little goofy in some of the shots. I think they're really trying to draw a sharp contrast of like visceral, angry Wolverine and like genteel, in love Logan, right? I think that's what they're doing, but like I'm not like upset that people are saying that because it doesn't feel like it's like dishonest. I feel like oftentimes what will happen with something like the God of War Lao Fei trailer is people aren't saying, yeah, I didn't really like it. They're saying things about it that don't feel factually accurate. It woke. They made Deborah Ann Wall ugly. I don't feel like there's any substance to those claims. Those feel vapid and empty. They shouldn't have called it God of War. That's superficial opinion. Okay. It's millennial writing. Can you explain to me how it's millennial writing? And then you just get crickets in response. You know what I mean? So, thank you, Hadigan, for your Prime sub over there on Purple. I appreciate it. That's 14 months. Another month, another sub. Thanks for the great content. Thank you, sir. In Expedition 33, for a serious story, we still had multiple comedic characters. That's right. Yeah. That's right. I would say that even in something as serious as Expedition 33, you had very jovial, very silly, very non-serious characters, and I think that works quite well. I think it brings, a levity, and it breaks the tension. You know what I mean? Marvel does it almost like habitually. It's like everything's serious, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody has to say something. Somebody has to like break the the tension of the moment or what have you. Yeah, Esquier. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Guys, keep hitting that like button. Try and get us to 300 likes. And thank you, Bronco Quest, for renewing your membership. We are exactly 5 away from 250. Perfect time to steal it, Purple. So yeah, I do. I think there's a difference between somebody saying it didn't really impress me, or it didn't wow me, or yeah, I'm just not interested. That's not the same as somebody sort of like falsely summarizing the essence of it or misrepresenting it. Does that make sense? I get what you're saying, but I think my criticism of the writing of the cube and the ribbon is not substantive. Oh, I didn't think that. Especially if the cube and the ribbon will be your companion for most of the game. The first impressions of those characters made me roll my eyes because the characters seemed like they were from an entirely different franchise. My issue's not the levity. So your assessment is accurate. Your complaint is your own. Does that make sense? You're like, yeah, they seem like they're from a completely different franchise. Bingo. Yes. You are precisely perceptive about what they're supposed to communicate. Now, your opinion is your own. You're like, I don't like it. Oh, okay. That's fine. You don't have to like it. But your perception's accurate. That's literally what they're meant to be communicating. They're literally meant to communicate, where the heck are we? These people don't fit. These things, these beings, they don't fit. Something weird is going on. It's literally a literary device in books to create a something changed vibe. It's like in Narnia, in The Horse and His Boy, where suddenly the horse talks. You see? Where suddenly in the second book, if you read them in the correct order, in the second book of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, they enter this strange land, and we already know it's strange because there was a faun, and you're like, what the heck is a faun? It's a man with goat legs, right? Walking upright with an umbrella and a parcel. Okay, Mr. Tumnus. But they come back later, and there's a beaver, and it slowly sort of alerts you to something is different here, because the beaver is motioning with its hands in a humanistic way, and then he speaks. She's got spies everywhere. Like, you're like, oh, what the heck's going on? Like, it alerts you to something is changing, something is different here. So when you go into Lao Fei, and you sort of are introduced into this idea of like, Fei's not where she's supposed to be, and then there's like a little creature that we've never seen before. Like, what's this little cuddly creature? And then she's fighting. And then there's gods. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, a talking cube? And a talking sword? The literary device there is something significant has changed. It's part of the crisis. It's part of what she's going to have to figure out. Like, where the heck am I? Your opinion's your own. Like, you're like, I don't like it. Nah, that's fine. You don't have to like it. But it's doing its job. Like, it's actually functioning quite well as a device, as a storytelling mechanism. It's doing its job if you're signaled that, oh, they're not from here. Yep. That's exactly right. Punisher Matt with 36 months. That's a lot of months. 3 years, sir. Lao Fei is going to be awesome. Most people complaining about it's a woman are usually afraid of women. I mean, I don't know about that. I accept that, which is why I got the game as a wait and see. God of War is known for being an epic type of series. Lao Fei seems very much like a fantasy game, which isn't my cup of tea. I think you should watch the interviews with Deborah Ann Wall and Cory Barlog, where this plan was put into place back when they were making 2018. So there are story elements in 2018 that they knew this game was going to explain or touch down on. I mean it. I'd go watch the interviews with Deborah Ann Wall and Cory Barlog. I think they take their jobs very seriously. They take storytelling very seriously, and just a bunch of YouTube grift is happening because it's an easy way to make money. You make videos yelling about women and being ugly and woke, and you get hundreds of thousands of views. It's intoxicating snake oil is all it is. Like these guys are addicted to saying things and having the same position and the same words and the same all of it. And it's like there's literally no breakdown. There's no analysis. It's just buzzword salad because it drives algo. It drives ad revenue. That is literally all it is. I really hope more people wake up to that reality. You're literally just watching essentially fake, phony coverage of things that emotionally affirms people's anger about stuff, and they use and they basically co-opt a game or a trailer to perpetuate that feeling of anger. That's all it is. Atreus had a sentient sword at the end of Ragnarok as well, so it kind of fits. I have to say that it would where pubs are not taking risks. Sony Santa Monica certainly are, so I love that, and I think that's very fair credit. That's very fair credit to give them. That's very fair credit to give them. It's like instead of just doing the same old, they're shaking it up. It's not just another God of War game, right? Which I'm not going to complain about just another God of War game, but a lot of people do. That was why I told people that like Saros was such a great and delightful game, because it was like, this is just not another game. There's like one other game like Saros, and it's called Returnal. How long till the new one after this one comes out? Long wait. There's no way to know. Yeah, there's no way to know. They're going to be faster at making the games because of all of the assets and the animations they get to use. And we know Christopher Judge has already done work for it from what he was saying. So, I don't know. It's like sports coverage that intentionally slights people and teams to get a reaction. Pretty much, yes. It would be like the championship team wins and you're like, yeah, they're overrated, and then you're going to get a bunch of angry fans in your comments feeding you interaction. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't want to play it. But I am going to push back on analysis that I feel is either superficial or inaccurate. Now, if you think my little, arguments today and the way I formulated things, if I haven't compelled you, that's fine. It's your own life. It's your own journey. I've not been compelled to the other side because it takes more than strongly worded assertions to change my mind. It does. It takes way more than a strongly worded assertion to make me think differently about something, because the world is full of people who strongly assert things. The world lacks people who can actually argue their position. They just strongly assert it, and they usually yell and raise their voice, and that's how they make their point. Like, I'll get passionate and raise my voice, but I'll usually try to take the time to walk you through, like, the logic of my position. If you're not compelled, you're not compelled. That's fine. But, like, if you can't walk me through the logic of your position, then don't expect me to be compelled or convinced to your side. The Wolverine previews are out. Oh, yeah, it's 11:02. Let's check it out. Let's check it out, boys. Insomniac's take on Wolverine is ferocious, destructive, and cinematic, but a little predictable, says Eurogamer. IGN, we finally played it. We found it to be incredibly fun, but so far not quite the superhero game revelation that Spider-Man was. That doesn't surprise me. I didn't expect this to be a revolutionary game. If it's a good Wolverine game. VGC says, we spoke to the game's directors to discuss it. Let's see what they say. Stepping out of the bus, ferried north summer. Okay, felt appropriate. Later in the week, the studio's leadership at the Spider-Man. Okay. Speaking with the director, he gave an example of how the team has tailored the game to Wolverine. We knew that in order to authentically represent the character, it meant sort of embracing this character's violent nature and not looking away from it. That led us to a more mature tone and sort of unopened the door to a sort of more nuanced emotional maturity as well. To really understand Logan, you have to get through his outer shell, realize he has a big heart, and empathize with him as a human so that you can finally understand just how much he's hurting inside. Despite those physical, emotional struggles, he's relentless, and he keeps going anyway. Yeah, I'm not surprised that this is a tone and an element of the storytelling, because that was why I said I felt like they were doing that with the interviews. Lukewarm reviews. These aren't reviews, these are previews. Okay, Marvel's Wolverine is packed with ferocious combat. Hands-on report from PlayStation about it. Our 2-hour session kicked off with the game's opening mission in the wilds of Telembang, where Wolverine is reunited with Team X to carry out a critical mission, infiltrating a facility of anti-mutant industrialist Boulevard Trask. After slicing our way to a daring rescue, we jumped ahead in the game to a bombastic fight and a taste of Marjapor's Lowtown. Between brutal barrages, stealthy scouting, and a range of rage-filled takedowns, we get to cut to the bone of the game's story, flesh out Wolverine's allies and foes, and uncover a buried piece of his past. So this looks to be the baddie taking on Trask. From the game's opening moments, flashing back to feral, mangy-haired, and memory-wiped Wolverine, every sequence tested the balance between his rage and humanity. The first mission reunites him with Team X, a mutant task force formed by Nathaniel Essex to help protect mutants. Wolverine had stepped away from the group, something that has rankled his teammates, a wry Mystique and an ever-savage Sabretooth. Well, this is Omega Red. He looks pretty stinking awesome. The mission takes them from a facility to the seedy back streets, presenting Wolverine with the grim reality of what mutants in the world are facing. With mutants largely unknown by society, Trask has been spending billions abducting, studying, and cruelly disposing of mutants with little regard for his victims in a quest to maintain human superiority. As the nefarious reality of the facility's purpose becomes clear, the horror Wolverine feels quickly pools into unbridled rage. The rage drives him forward through the throngs of Reaver enemies and a run-in with Omega Red to eventually free Essex, who has been held captive by Trask. And a 20 spot from the OA, continuing to work on that super chat goal. People complain about gender swap, Mary Sue's, and then comes Santa Monica interweaving a reason for a woman protagonist and why she's powerful, and they still complain. Or maybe she's just secretly hoped Kratos was gay all along. Well, yeah, they ask for really good female leads, and then when they get one, they cry anyway. Essex is the one who found Wolverine years before in the feral state and formed Team X to protect mutants and build a world where mutants can be open. Between Essex and Trask, Wolverine is faced with lengths some will go to protect the future of their kind and will challenge him to face what kind of person he wants to be in the future. Another picture here of him jumping. Between storylines and set pieces, my biggest takeaway from my time with Marvel's Wolverine was that it feels dang good to sink the claws in. Wolverine doesn't just attack enemies, he catapults himself at them, targeting and launching himself from across the room to stun or barrage. Every combat encounter becomes a furious flurry, where my adrenaline feels directly tied to Wolverine's increasing rage. While a simple parry and barrage can get the job done, Wolverine can unlock a number of special techniques, skills that can be upgraded and mapped to the directional buttons for an extra flair in a fight. In my playthrough, I could cleave through a group surrounding me with a tornado spin or interrupt enemy attacks with a knee breaker. Players can also unlock adaptations, which upgrade long-term effects and skills like Logan's health and rage meter. That rage will come in handy. Successful combos build up the rage meter, which increases through 3 rage tiers to dramatically altering the fighting style. As Wolverine enters Rage Tier 2, his combos become more powerful and he unlocks Last Stand, which allows him to use his rage to heal his body if fully downed. But things really go over the edge when he fills to Rage 3. His attacks become significantly more powerful, while brutal critical strikes become available. His vision seems to close in, his breathing gets louder and more primal as he darts between enemies, slicing and dicing with ease. Those critical strikes can lead to some dangerously fun takedowns, like snatching a member of the hand's katana or bow and slam it back into them. I kind of like that they've built it sounds to me like they built a combat system that centers around momentum, which I think really, really goes well with the character. So you're not going to want to like stay put. You're going to want to be continually moving forward and doing as much damage as you can because you're going to build momentum with the rage meter. Sometimes Wolverine needs more methodical approach. He can use his enhanced senses to track and take down enemies more stealthily. Trask also has ability inhibitors at his disposal that block Wolverine and his teammates from using their abilities. In these moments, he must work past the pain and fight without healing, focusing, or taking enemies down with classic combat moves and destroying the inhibitors before it's too late. It took all the skills I had gathered so far to take on the looming Sentinel prototype towards the end of my preview. Built by Trask to detect and destroy mutants, this fight took all of Wolverine's patience and strategy, dodging or parrying the Sentinel's powerful attacks while waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This sequence was thrilling, both to use Wolverine's abilities to their fullest potential and to watch as he worked in tandem with Mystique and Sabretooth. And by the time I was busting through the Sentinel's head victorious, I had a wild grin on my face and felt amped and ready to take on anyone. And here's Wolverine at a jukebox with an old man. Luckily, after that fight, there was still more to explore. In Madripoor, surrounded by allies new and old, we took a moment of respite in Princess Bar, run by Tiger. Here we got to interact with newly acquired ally Jean Grey and the mutant teens that she had been collecting. Though they are still a mystery to one another, Jean and Wolverine's connection is immediate. It's with her that he can admit that his anger sometimes scares him and that he wants to be better. So there's Jean in her, the classic outfit we saw in a lot of the comic book comparisons. So people that were worried about like her outfit or looking true to the comics, I think she looks fine here. I enjoyed that Wolverine also takes time for his teammates Mystique and Sabretooth. Mystique stays focused on the mission during combat, shifting through identities when needed. Here in Princess Bar, she can just be herself and encourages Wolverine to do the same through a friendly but vulnerable game of Never Have I Ever. Sabretooth spends most of the game antagonizing Wolverine and calling him a runt, which is fair, given he stands about as tall as Sabretooth's navel. But it's clear their relationship runs deeper, and Sabretooth feels spurned by Wolverine's original exit from the group. While exploring the streets of Lowtown, I could take the time to check out some of Wolverine's other looks and claw types, which range from a classic undershirt and jeans outfit to a Weapon X helmeted style. While walking around the Princess Bar, Wolverine's enhanced senses could pick up on conversation or music. That's Mystique. Oh, did I say Jean by mistake? I'm sorry. That's Mystique. I was thinking about Jean because we had just read about Jean, and I was like, nope, sorry, it's Mystique. Exploring each room sometimes led to a conversation or finding Easter eggs like Mystique's wedding pictures or an IOU written on an Ace of Spades card. From one Remy LeBeau, Gambit. Maybe we get a Gambit game. Probably not. Take the time to explore each new location as Wolverine can discover hidden crates with raw upgrade materials or collectible whiskey bottles. Logan can also stumble across nightmare doors, which transport him to a dreamlike cabin or take part in a nightmare trial. These time speed trials reimagine different locations from the game into a vertical fever dream where he can race to the end and unlock a forgotten memory from his past. Oh, so you are going to come back and actually learn about things that happened to him and stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I just got done reading about Jean and I just transposed. I know who Mystique is. I know who Jean is. I know, and I don't know if they're going to lay groundwork in this for the Dark Phoenix either with Jean Grey. I'm not sure if they're going to lay any kind of groundwork for that. That would be pretty cool. It's also cool that there's a little Remy LeBeau Easter egg. a new look at Troy Baker as Mr. Sinister in Marvel's Wolverine. So Troy Baker is still once again in basically every game that comes out. There he is. We got some new 4K screenshots. Here's another one. All right. And we've seen that one. And we've seen that one. No, he's a poser. Oh, don't worry, Zoob. Don't worry. That will certainly be used by folks that were like, he doesn't know anything. He lies. He's bad. He'll be like, he thought that was Jean Grey. And it's like, that's the height of their intellect. Wolverine is our only playable character. Insomniac won't repeat Spider-Man's worst sections. Okay, so you don't have to play as anybody else. You only play as Wolverine. One of the previews asked that question. Excellent. The Lego Marvel games have been indefinitely put on hold, according to this Reddit thread that I just saw. Okay. Let me see if we've got any new stuff about Wolverine. We've got, here's your first look at some of the various techniques and abilities. So we've got, let's rewind here. So we've got Savage Sprinter. While sprinting, tap square to perform a swift multi-hit area strike. Healing Strike. Against a staggered enemy, tap triangle to deal heavy damage and restore health. It can also be used to end a barrage. Sprint Block. While sprinting, automatically block basic ranged fire from the front. That's going to be important. Tornado Spin. Longer spin, breaks blocks, interrupts most attacks. So you can like level up your Tornado Spin. Yeah, I don't get the people that think he's moving in a stiff way. Like, that looks great. Okay. So there you go. Couple of looks at like a skill tree style thing. I cannot stress how fun it is to leap and launch yourself at enemies. I need to be September the 15th immediately. The Content Comms Manager at PlayStation. Okay. Let's see. VGC traveled to Insomniac to speak to Wolverine's director about the Weapon X Factor. Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like the previews are positive. I mean, again, we have Eurogamer and IGN, saying that it either feels predictable or it doesn't feel revolutionary or whatever. I didn't expect that. Like, I don't necessarily think that those aren't valid criticisms or complaints, being like, well, it's a good game, but it's not a revolutionary hero game. And it's like, I don't think who expected to get a revolutionary hero game with Wolverine? Like, we've had Batman, we've had Spider-Man, we've had Miles, we've had the Justice League game, and it's like, I didn't expect this to be a revolutionary hero game. It's Wolverine, he's going to have an aggressive, melee style brutal combat. You can't revolutionize a hero, the genre, with Wolverine. Really, any hero, you're gonna have a hard time reinventing the genre. In my estimation. I just want a double cheeseburger. I don't need gourmet. Yeah, like I don't buy an Insomniac hero game expecting it to completely reinvent the wheel and make me have feelings of, euphoric joy. It just needs to be a really good video game. Like, sometimes I think That's one of my issues with how games are criticized these days, is they're criticized against unobtainable ideals, or they're criticized against unspoken ideals. Like, it's like, yeah, it just didn't do enough, or there just weren't enough new features, or no, I'm sorry, there weren't enough next gen features, like the guy was saying the one day. And it's like, they're just unspoken, like, made up things to basically chop the game down, instead of being like, well, the combat was bad, or the story was flat, or the characters were boring. It wasn't revolutionary. And I'm like, huh? New look at Wolverine's combat. Successful combos build up your rage meter. Okay, hang on. Okami's got a clip maybe we can look at. All right, hang on. Let's go full screen here. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, playing all the Batman games, playing Spider-Man 1, Miles, and Spider-Man 2, this feels kind of fighting game inspired. Like, the way he's moving from character to character and doing juggles and stuff. I don't know. I think that looks kind of awesome. That not only is it gory, there's an element of, like, there's a moment-to-moment going on here. It feels sort of like a fighting game. Like, he's going through movesets and doing combos. And then when he moves to this guy in particular, boom, and then he switches to this guy, it feels kind of like a fighting game. Like, he knees, he slams, that guy's now stunned, so he kicks him off. Like, I think this looks excellent. I really do. I think this is exactly what I wanted from a Wolverine game. Visceral, brutal, but there's a weight to what he's doing, so it doesn't feel like he's just, like, slashing through pillows. I think it looks great. I don't know. I did not expect them to revolutionize the hero genre. I didn't expect them to completely redo what we expect from hero games. Okay, hang on. Crime, justice, talking matters at its core. Do we have to watch the trailer? I don't know. We can do that at the end. I think I might send you guys all over there. I can't remember if I'm supposed to watch the trailer or not. We had a channel skin running on Purple for a movie by any means. Yeah, I must watch the trailer. Okay. So I am going to need to do that. We'll do that at the end because YouTube gets funky about trailers. We'll do that at the end of the stream. And then you guys can go over to Purple and help out. If you haven't hit the like button yet on YouTube, do me a favor and do that. That does support me. That does help me. What's the expectation that every game is genre defining in Game of the Year? Here's what I'll say. If someone previews or does a review of a game and that's their only quibble, I take that as a strong endorsement. It means the game was so good, they kind of had to dream up things to complain about. Does that make sense? Apparently the combat, story, world, graphics, performance, all of those things were so good, you don't have anything of substance to complain about. So you're going to be like, well, it's a little predictable. Really? A superhero game is predictable. Oh man, I never would have thought a superhero game would be like, here's superhero, here's powers, here's bad guys, stop bad guys, save the person, you did it. Like, yeah, I kind of expected that to be the scope of the game. Spider-Man and Miles and Spider-Man 2 and all the Batman games, like, Again, I think if you're going to do that, you're making things up at that point. Gonna be honest, hearing not revolutionary feels like reviews are going to be worse compared to Spider-Man games just because. No real reason other than the vague, well, we already have this. Right. You got to watch the preview. Holy crap. Where do you think there's a good one? Does IGN have a good one? They've got like 8 minutes here. Well, they've got some Spidey here at the front. Here we go. IGN giving it a 7 means it's like a 9 for us. There's Troy. I would love a superhero game where you lose in the end and have to wait for the sequel. Yeah, they've got to fix that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. They've got to fix his eyes. Like, I'm sorry, that completely takes the punch out of this sequence. He looks like he's got a lazy eye. No shade to people with lazy eyes, but like, it doesn't evoke power. It evokes like, wait, is he going cross-eyed? Like, they need to fix that. This is like the 4th or 5th time I've seen a screenshot where I'm like, what's going on with his eyes? You see it? Do you guys see what I'm seeing? They've had a couple of spots like this where I'm like, why is his eyeball doing that? This one here is centered. This one here is like drifting towards his nose. Everything else looks great. Yeah, everything else looks fantastic. If I cover that eye and you don't fixate on it, it looks great. He looks visceral. He looks angry. He's raw. You know, his hair, his suit, the lighting, the reflection. But then his eye looks all derpy. I can barely see it. I've noticed it every time they've shown him. Every time they've shown him, I'm like, why does he look cross-eyed? I don't think Liam's cross-eyed, is he? I'm not nitpicking. It just doesn't evoke power when he goes into a scene or you've got like a dramatic picture of him looking kind of concerned or worried, and he looks cross-eyed. Yeah, maybe he was wearing the eye patch too long. I mean, my daughter had an eye that drifted on her when she was little, and we had to make her wear a patch to strengthen the other eye. Confirmed, Lono hates cross-eyed people more at 11. Maybe I notice it more because, like, we started noticing it in my daughter, and she had to do eye therapy. Yeah, it makes him look goofy. It doesn't evoke strength. The lighting here is spectacular. Jiminy. Yeah, I think I'm going to dig this combat. Abilities for crowd control, parries for like out of frame attacks. A little distracting, but this is by far the game I'm most excited for. I had 2 kids that needed eye surgery. Yeah, we avoided that because we did eye therapy. Because surgery would have been necessary had we not. You can't always fix it with eye therapy, though. I'm outside. You'll have to take my word for it. There's just been multiple times I've seen screenshots of him, and it's just his eyes look a little derpy. They look a little cross-eyed. And it's like he's supposed to be visceral and scary. He's not supposed to look like he's trying to do a 3D poster or something. Good Lord, you can see his entire skeleton. Oh, so his suit's back on. Yeah, so this is something people complained about, right? You can get so damaged that your suit is literally gone. He has nothing, he's no shirt. And then he does the heal, and now it's back. So there is a video gaminess to that, and I'm okay with that. He can't just run around naked. Do you know what I'm saying? The Japanese vowel O is always pronounced O. Sorry for the other guys, but it's Onimusha. I'm learning Japanese right now. Okay. So I've been saying Onimusha. And somebody told me it was Onimusha. Aonimusha. So Google says it's Aonimusha. You're saying it's Onimusha. Hang on, let me listen.
Onimusha.
No, yeah, you're right. Even Google says it's Onimusha. Somebody told me it was Onimusha. You guys are saying no, it's Onimusha. Oh, I like the team up with Saberwolf. That was pretty dope. Or Sabretooth. I always want to say Saberwolf from Killer Instinct. Yeah, the team ups with Sabretooth are friggin' awesome. The director of Wolverine, I think, is the same director for Ratchet and Clank. Friendly neighborhood. Oh, there's blood everywhere. Ooh, there's the Sentinel. Oh, it's just a prototype. Oh yeah, his like head and face isn't right yet. Oh, that's sick. She looks like right here, she looks an awful lot like the girl who played in The Wheel of Time. She's also in Gone Girl. She looks a little similar to her right there. Man, the lighting, they've got a really nice lighting system in their engine. I don't know what they use, but it looks really good. What do you think it is, Zoob? Is it? Oh, I don't know. You're the lighting guy. Yeah, Rosamund Pike. Yeah, she looks a little bit like Rosamund Pike. Yeah, she does look a little bit like Jessie from Control. Get a good look at her here. Yeah. Yeah, I think people that were concerned about them like making her or Mystique like derpy and non-feminine, I think that's just completely put to bed. They're obviously probably going to try and take bad screenshots because they're, that's the meta now on YouTube, but I see no evidence of that in the least. Man, look at that's frickin' Troy Baker. It's just him sitting there. He does look soft. He's supposed to. In these sequences, they want you to be connecting with the human side of Logan. Like, he's supposed to look soft in these instances. But then there's going to be instances where he looks visceral and angry and, yelling, which is why the him looking a little cross-eyed is working against that one scene. Are her boobs big enough for the anti-woke? No. They're not like Triple D jiggling and barely covered, so they'll say she's covered up. It's not, it's not a breeze away from being pornographic, so they'll hate it. If that's what they're going for, then okay. Well, I don't have him right in front of me, but the very, very first trailer, he's snarling and growling, and he looks like an animal. Like, again, I think people forget that, like, Logan in the movies, like, Hugh Jackman's not just walking around like, "Rah!" He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Oh, here, can you heat up my, is there any beer? Here, heat up my Coca-Cola," or whatever. He has the bottle, and then, like, he's, like, flirting and trying to be all, whatever with Jean. Like, I think people really, really always miss the forest for the trees when they'll fixate on, like, one thing. Like, the gameplay trailer from 3 months ago literally opens with this. Like, he can't have this expression on his face when he's just sitting there having a conversation with Mystique or Jean, or, like, talking to somebody. Like, you know what I mean? There's that it wouldn't work. It's like there's got to be some range to the character. And again, I think people are not allowing for that. They're zeroing in on, like, oh, when he's sitting around without the cowl on and he's just, like, talking. Like, this is another one. This is from the very, very first trailer. I'm sorry, this is from the second trailer. He's literally snarling like a wolf here. He's like, "Arr, arr." Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? He can't, like, go to the bar and be like, "Give me a Bud Light." Like, that would be stupid. Like, he's still Logan. He's not always Wolverine. That's one of the things about his story that I thought they did a good job with Hugh Jackman's rendition of him. Like, they brought this humanity to him, and this, this grief and this anger, but also, like, he had the capacity for love and compassion. Engine looks very similar to the Spider-Man engine, says Parasito, which was in-house, built by Insomniac. Same one. Well, that's what I said. I said their in-house engine is so good, but I don't know what kind of lighting they're using. Why not? I mean, it would certainly be comical, but again, I feel like then people would criticize that. If he was just always yelling, snarling, and all this, people would be like, oh, he's so one-dimensional. He doesn't seem like a person anymore. He's just like he's a caricature. He's a caricature of himself. He's kind of become a joke. So, yeah, I've not seen anything that gives me concern. I was worried that the combat would get very rote and rehearsed, and I think the combat looks excellent. I have no issues with it whatsoever. What's for Din Din? You're going to get the same answer every time you ask, man. I don't know. Spider-Man developers Insomniac new game was delightfully gory claw-based combat. But its real hook is Logan, says The Verge. They're saying that despite having no previous attachment to the character, I was deeply endeared to Logan himself. I think that's what people are lacking. They're lacking in trust for Insomniac. Like, I trust Insomniac to tell a good story. I thought they did a great job. I think Spider-Man 1 story was significantly better than the story in Spider-Man 2. I do. I think Spider-Man 1 story was way better. I thought Miles Morales' story was better than Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 story was fine. I don't think it was bad. It was just fine. But I trust Insomniac to do a good job. They've not really let me down. So them creating, a depth and an endearing quality to Wolverine, to the character of Logan, to me, that's something that I'm looking forward to. It's more exciting and more it's more entertaining to have an actual character that has cares, concerns, worries, regrets. Like that's a character we can kind of connect with, instead of just like he's just a punchy punch killing machine for 20 hours. I don't see it being longer than 20 hours. No, I don't think so either. I'm sure you could get more than 20 hours out of it if there's like completionist stuff and like side content. But what didn't you like about the second story? I don't know. It just didn't seem as strong to me. I haven't played it in a really long time, so I can't think of my issues with it off the top of my head. It just didn't seem as strong. I thought what they did in the first game with Doc Ock was brilliant, and I thought that there was a there was a character depth there and an arc there, and the second game felt more stereotypical, I guess. I don't know. I just felt it felt better in the first game. The second game's story was not bad by any stretch. It just didn't seem as good to me. It's less focused. It might be because there's so much going on. You had Kraven, then you had Venom, then you had the city, then I'm playing as MJ, and then MJ's got the symbiote on her, and then Miles is having his thing with the guy that looks like a film negative. I forget his name. I don't know. I think it might have been the lack of focus. It felt a little spread. So I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man 1 story is almost perfect. Miles' story is great. And then Spider-Man 2 is like, it's just fine. It's not bad by any stretch. But I just think they hit... Yeah, Mr... Is that literally his name, Mr. Negative? He literally looks like a film negative. I'm an idiot. Yeah, they hit such a home run with the Dr. Octavius relational thing. I don't know. I just think that punch was missing in the second game. So it wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good. Isn't a Venom standalone coming? Yeah, probably I would think maybe next year. It's probably going to be a smaller Miles Morales style game, and it's probably coming along just fine. So we shall see where that one ends up in the timeline. They have an awful lot of assets to use so that Venom could come out quite a bit faster than like Wolverine. Wolverine, they had to build, an entire move set and character moves and combos and things. They've got a lot that had to be kind of built for Wolverine to work. Venom, I think Venom can probably come to the market fairly quickly. Did you see that apparently Spider-Man 2 has sold 19 million copies? That's crazy if true. Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Spidey is ridiculously popular, and they're getting a boost in sales for all the games because of the movie. Yeah. You didn't like Mary Jane's character model in the second either? That didn't bother me. I didn't think that she was that particularly good looking in the first game. She had kind of like that baby fat kind of style face that I don't find cute or endearing. That conversation never made sense to me, where people felt like they really they just really tore her down and da-da-da-da. I'm like, she was very plain in the first game. I don't really see what people took issue with. They once again used intentionally bad pictures of her. Like if you actually looked at some of the more flattering pictures of her in the second game, I thought she looked fine. She's also incredibly non-important. Like, you have to play as her for a little bit. I think those are terrible from a gameplay perspective. Everybody calls her, or at least I've called her since I heard it, Mary Jane Wick. She's taking out symbiotes with a stun gun. I thought that was incredibly stupid. So I took issue with from a gameplay design perspective. The whole they made her ugly. I was like, she wasn't that great looking in the first game. Like, I didn't know where people were coming from. She wasn't like some bombshell. And Black Cat, the reason why that argument gets no grounds with me is they made Black Cat sexier in the second game. Like, her outfit's more form-fitting and I think more revealing. So I think that argument is dead. It's like they clearly weren't trying to do anything like that. They wouldn't have included Black Cat if that was the case. They're not leaning away from that. They're not leaning away from it in Wolverine. You know, they've got the one plunging neckline Jean Grey outfit where like there's nothing practical about the outfit at all. Like it goes all the way down to like her navel. It's like just a wide open front of her shirt. You know what I mean? And then she's got like a very like open back attractive dress in the one scene. It's like, I don't think you guys have any clue what these companies are doing. Black Cat, Silver Sable, and MJ look just fine. Yeah. It's just straining at the smallest thing. It was not a compelling argument. Black Cat or Catwoman? Yeah. That's not a fair question, I don't think. Spider-Man was clearly more focused on Peter, Aunt May, and all that. I think that's one of the reasons the narrative landed stronger. When you end up with sort of a cast of characters, I think it's harder to have that narrative punch. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's too much. It's like it's him, it's Miles, it's MJ, it's Craven, it's Harry. You know, it's Venom, it's Harry's dad, Dr. Osborn. It's just like, it's so, and again, it's not a bad story. It's not as potent because it's so spread amongst all these people. So it wasn't as memorable. I still remember the face-off with Doc Ock in Spider-Man 1. I was like, this is freaking awesome. And the voice actor did an incredible job. The guy that did Dr. Octavius did a fantastic job. And so did Yuri Lowenthal for Peter. And I agree with the people that they shouldn't have changed what Peter looked like either. I thought he looked better in the original version. But I still remember that. And then the story elements and the story beats in Spider-Man 2, they're not all that memorable. Because there's so much going on. And again, that doesn't mean it's a bad story. It just has less potency. It's not as exciting. There's not some big twist or turn that happens. It's the weakest of the three in my mind. So, okay. I feel Sony dropped the ball when they declined every Marvel right for $25 million and only wanted Spider-Man. They could have the Ultimate Alliance and made that game huge. I don't know. There can be too much of a good thing. I don't need like a Rolodex of characters in a game like that. You know what I mean? Unless you are unless it's like a multiplayer game or like other people are going to be able to play, I would worry that you can spread a game like that super thin, where again it's just like a constant Rolodex of people coming in and out of the frame. So I think he's referring to the movie rights. Oh, I don't care about that. I think the Osborn involvement in Spider-Man stories is a bit overdone in general. That said, I wouldn't have minded Green Goblin making an actual appearance. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were just trying to set that up for the next game. Or like one of the Lego games where it makes sense to have a roster of characters. Right, where like your story is not as important. Yeah, like a Lego game. Like I literally just read though that like the Marvel Lego games are on hold right now. So did I pre-order Wolverine yet? No, I usually don't do that until like a day or two before, and then I just install it. I don't typically go like and pre-order games that far in advance. I don't feel the need to. Is the Venom game still coming, or has that been shelved? Colin Moriarty speaks about it as if it's real, playable, and people like it, and I don't think he's the only person that has spoken about it with just sort of this presumed, yeah, it exists kind of a thing. So, yeah. As far as we know, Venom exists as a game. Yeah. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure and hit the like button. Try and get us to 300 likes. If you've been watching for a long time on YouTube and you tune in every day, we do ask you to consider becoming a member. That is how I'm able to do this full time. And it is the only way that with our current sort of situation for me to be able to do this. So if you can't do the $5 a month, maybe somebody will gift and you'll get in. If you can, that does add up. We've always hovered around about 500 members. I've been streaming on YouTube for about 5 years, and it's basically always been roughly that same group of folks. So we do hope you guys see reason to support. If not, that's okay. Then you can hit like, subscribe, make sure you're here every day. But you are missing out on the Discord, the green room, and then we have other rooms in there for you to team up and play games with people as well. Did you see the Until Dawn movie? No. If Carnage is in the Venom game, I'll forgive the cliffhanger. Apparently, they had a planned Lego game called Project Marley that was supposed to be all Disney animated projects in one. That'd have been cool as heck. I really wish the Blade game was coming out. Yeah, we haven't heard anything about it other than that it might be in jeopardy. Yeah. And by the way, I've been doing this. I did this last week and this week. Brand new members, you get to count as 2 in the goal. So you can help us hit the goal faster. That is how important new members are to us. So, yeah. That is another thing we're trying to do, just to show that appreciation when you sign up brand new. I miss Disney Interactive. You're curious if Marvel's making into Kingdom Hearts 4? There's a Kingdom Hearts thing this week, isn't there? Or is it next week? There's like a round table or something. The 15th? Yeah, they're doing like a round table about it. I swear I just saw it in my feed. Yeah, right here. We're excited to share the upcoming deep dive into Kingdom Hearts panel at D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event. It'll also be streamed on the Kingdom Hearts YouTube channel. So this Friday at 7:30 in the evening. So Haley Joel Osment will be there. I hope he's doing okay. He had a rough go of it after Star Wars. Felt kind of bad for him. Kingdom Hearts 4 looks visually bad from what we've seen. I think it looks fine. Haley Joel Osment wasn't in Star Wars. I'm thinking of Jake. I'm sorry. What was it that happened with Haley Joel? It was they both had similar journeys, didn't they? It wasn't Star Wars. It was there was something that he was in, and then after that, he kind of didn't have, like, his career kind of went in a bad direction. I feel like he got in a dark place. The same thing happened with Jake Lloyd after Star Wars. I was getting my actors confused. Lono's having a hard time today with names. Yeah. Something happened with Haley Joel Osment, too. Was it after Sixth Sense or something? I thought he had to get, like... Wasn't he in, like, therapy or something? And then Jake Lloyd similarly had a similar, like, big successful child actor and then, like, got to a real dark place. Don't know, how come the official account from Crimson Desert hasn't said anything about a DLC? The article said they officially mentioned it. Was it after The Sixth Sense? The Sixth Sense was in 1999. Haley Joel Osment was also then in Pay It Forward, Artificial Intelligence, Secondhand Lions. I feel like he kind of fell out of fandom after Secondhand Lions. Pod Racer Kid ended up screwed up. Yeah, that's Jake Lloyd. I was just getting my actors confused. Yeah, Jake Lloyd was relentlessly and mercilessly treated because Star Wars fans can be some of the dumbest people ever. The way they were, angry about those movies. Hang on one second. Crimson Desert DLC. There were articles that said it's coming. Yeah, Tech Radar. Pearl Abyss confirms Crimson Desert DLC is scheduled to release this year. Pearl Abyss seemingly won't rest until Crimson Desert's an absolute best. In its latest financial report, they confirmed that Crimson Desert's DLC is currently under development and scheduled for release in 2026, and while it continues to refine its content direction. There are no details on the DLC content, but Pearl Abyss plans to announce it in the third quarter of 2026. Yeah, it was in a financial report. So no, they haven't tweeted about it, but it was in a financial report. Yeah, because Jamal, you left that comment on my video and you're like, oh, I hope I didn't get you one guide. And I was like, I literally found articles about it. And I went and looked and I was like, oh no, they said it's coming. Like, multiple articles were stating that. Haley Joel has been the main character in Kingdom Hearts for the last 25 years. Really? I did not know that. I did not know that. Are they going to add a story? I'm not sure what you're asking about. Now the prequel trilogy is looked upon favorably. Yeah, that's how bad 7, 8, and 9 were. 7, 8, and 9 were so bad that they made people go back and reappreciate movies that they never liked. That's pretty bad. That's like when your cooking is so bad that somebody will go and eat cooking that they typically don't like. That's pretty bad. They'll update the game like every week. Oh, are they going to add a story? You mean in Crimson Desert? He plays Sora. I had no idea. Yeah, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, so I wouldn't know. Somehow Palpatine has returned was peak writing. What are we talking about? Beast of Reincarnation's director is truly sorry the new action RPG isn't sufficiently enjoyable. I got the Ghost of Yotei update. I have 48 days left. 48 days left? What do you mean? I also pre-ordered Marvel's Wolverine, GTA. I don't understand what you mean by you have 48 days left. What do you mean? The movies can suck, but blaming the actors is dumb. They didn't write the script. Yeah, same thing happened to Hayden Christensen. It ruined his career. Can't get over the previews and physically sending a PS5 with their game pre-installed just to keep up with the lie to the public. Yeah. What if Arc Raiders did their updates live in the game, sort of like Fortnite did? I don't know if their game is built for that, though. Like, the way that, like, Epic and Fortnite and the servers and all that run, I think they're more built for that. I don't know if Arc Raiders can do, like, especially because of, like, the way the game operates. Like, you go in and there's only so many people in a server, and in a battle royale, like, you can go in and there's 100 people all looking at the same thing happening. Ahmed Best got wrecked pretty bad over Jar Jar hate. Oh, to pre-order and get the bonus. I just got laid off from my mobile gaming job this week, says Samir. I heard 40 to 50% of the company was gone. We launched a new game and didn't retain and monetize well enough for late game cohorts. Man, that sucks, bro. Sorry that happened. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, try to get us to 300 likes. We are we're closing in on 3 hours. I typically only go to 4 hours if we're kind of rocking and rolling, which isn't really happening right now. The news is doing its thing. We've definitely got some things that have happened. Definitely got some things that I'll probably record and cover. But we're usually around this time in sort of a do we keep going or not situation with the live show, and I'm not gonna force it. Mafia Collection arrives August 14th on PS5, including Mafia: The Old Country Definitive Edition, Mafia 1, 2, and 3 definitive editions. Experience 4 eras of work. That's cool. They tweeted this 33 seconds ago. Tomorrow what? Oh yeah, this arrives tomorrow, 14th. The Phantom Blade trailer made me go play Sekiro. I spent 4 hours fighting the Guardian 8. I really hope Phantom Blade isn't quite as hard. I think Phantom Blade is going to have difficulty settings, and I also think that they said it's not a Souls, it's not strictly an action game. They kind of want it to be its own thing. So I don't think their goal, I don't think their goal is to do that. Like, I don't think their goal is to have a game that's like that hard. I just like the video. You're so close. I appreciate that. Is Helldivers worth jumping into solo now? I might just leave it. I mean, the solo experience is probably not terrible if you're okay matchmaking and just like following the group. I did that a handful of times and had a perfectly fine experience. Now, that was a while ago, but, you know, I don't know how the game's doing with respect to, like, is the new content... yeah, I mean, it caused... Yesterday they peaked at 146,000. Today, and what time did they hit that peak? At 13? Yeah, they're not even coming close to that peak today. Not even close. 91,000. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is digital only, yes. $146. Yeah, I mean, it got up to 146,000, concurrents yesterday on Steam. Helldivers did, and today it's only hitting about 96. So it's already, it's obviously people are coming back, and I don't think the game has been a failure by any stretch. Like, it's made an obscene amount of money, but I just don't know if, as a game, they've really captured like this massive audience that's going to be in there every day, every week, every month. It's just not that kind of game. So it was always destined to run out of steam, but the new content does seem to have gotten a lot of people to come back. If they come back, they spend money, and they, over the course of the next couple of weeks, they're not going to hit those peaks, but if those people keep re-engaging, then, the game will probably just continue to be just fine. Like, we already talked about this earlier, so I don't want to restate it all, but like, that's just the destination of all live service games, is there's a floor, and can you get healthy re-engagement once you're at that floor? So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it. I think we're forcing the issue here, but I have something I have to do on Twitch, and you guys can help me with it. I have to watch a trailer for a sponsored segment, and YouTube is really weird about trailers, so I'm not going to show it while I'm actively streaming on YouTube. So do me a favor, click the link in chat and head over to Twitch for just a couple of minutes. We're gonna watch a trailer for a movie. It's a sponsored segment that does help me, that does support me. We are regularly getting these opportunities on Twitch, which is great, and it's a movie called By Any Means. All right, so this video is going to come to an end on YouTube. Be sure to watch the upload from yesterday, and if there should be an upload later today. That's the format we're going to try going forward, to try to get the news on the channel faster, and then to have a more free-flowing live chat. If you like that, hit like, hit subscribe, become a member, do all the things. If you like this show every day and you want it to stick around, it needs to be supported. And I'm just going to keep saying that, so hopefully people understand that I am serious when I say that. So we appreciate those of you that went crazy and gifted today, Risic and everybody else. Thank you for those gifted members. Continue to call on folks to pick up their own membership. And if you don't, be here as often as you can. You might get a gifted. Appreciate you guys so much. Head over to Twitch. There's a link in chat right now on YouTube, and we're going to check out a trailer for a movie called By Any Means.